Go live. All right. I believe we're live. Make sure. People might get an echo here for a second. Just need to make sure my audio is working. You want to say something quick, Vagrant?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. I got your stream pulled up, so you're good visually, as far as I'm aware.
Bit of a delay. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, there's always going to be a little bit of a delay when it comes to streaming.
Alrighty. So, guys, here we are. It's the ultimate 2026 MMO tier list. I'm joined by fellow MMO YouTuber Vagrant. We've been chatting about doing this for the past few days, and we decided now is the right time. We need to set, the course straight and set everyone right in the MMO space by putting our opinion out there. And this is going to be objectively the 100% correct opinion. What do you think about that, Vagrant?
Absolutely. I mean, we're the experts here, so.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So before we get started, do you just want to introduce yourself a bit? Say what your channel's about, what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I go by Vagrant. I've gone by a couple names in the past, but I also cover MMORPG content, much like Waydot here. Been doing it for a couple years. Most of my segments are just deep dives into why you may want to start playing an MMO. It's not meant to be a full-on review, but a lot of people take it that way. I also have a couple other segments where I'll cover some more dead MMOs.
I like the funner MMOs. I like the gooder ones.
Yeah, for me, I kind of cover a lot of niche stuff because growing up, I didn't get to play high-end ones like EverQuest and World of Warcraft. I was that guy that was going to like those Flash websites and would see the ad for like MapleStory, FlyFF, just because my dad refused to buy me a really cool rig back in the day.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah.
Welcome to the stream. Are you ready to get into the tier list? Are you ready to potentially make some people very angry or very happy, depending on our choices?
Once I get my stream going, I
think
there's like a thing where it tells you that you need to set it up, even though it's already set up.
Yeah, take your time. No worries. What's up,
but,
Fat
you can go
Assassin?
Right into it.
He says, why isn't Star Wars in there? It is. We've got it in the list. Star Wars The Old Republic and Star Wars Galaxies is both on here, so. No, I'll wait for you, because I want to make sure that we stay on pace, on track. What's up, Pika? Long time no see.
It says I'm live. Whether or not that's actually true, I don't know.
Me and Vagrant here are both new to YouTube streaming, so, give us a second as we work out the kinks.
Yeah, professional content creators at its finest.
Nice. Was that a ice-cold beverage I heard in the background?
Orange cream soda.
Ooh, good choice.
It'll be perfect for talking about MMOs.
Exactly.
See if I'm live. I don't know where my phone's at, though.
Here, I can go check for you. Oops. Let's do this.
Yeah, it did the same thing last time. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
it did the same thing last time where it wouldn't show it in my preview, but I am live.
Gotcha. All right, so I think we have the same tier list pulled up. I would just like to say there might be some games missing on this list, but I tried to get pretty much everything that's been talked about recently is relevant in any way, shape, or form. It's pretty much on here. We might be missing a couple of niche ones, but I mean, there's hundreds of MMOs out there. And they're in no particular order, though a lot of the sequels are kind of close to each other. So like EverQuest 2 and EverQuest, Final Fantasy 11 and 14. The only two that don't seem to really be close to each other are the two RuneScapes, which that should be okay. But yeah, are you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go for it.
So the very first game on the tier list is Warborn Above Ashes. This was a game that just came out earlier last year, I guess later last year. I think it was about 5 or 6 months ago. It's basically a PvP focused game. Did you give it a try at all?
I played the beta for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's about as far as I got into it. I know a couple of you guys did play it a lot more than me, as far as I'm aware.
I didn't play it much. Because I actually got sponsored to do a video for them before the game actually came out. So I was sent like all kinds of assets and I was shown the game, but I didn't get to play it too much. And then once it actually came out, I played it for maybe 2 hours. I did enjoy the game, but I don't love how it's seasonal. So it basically resets itself every like couple months, I believe. There are some rewards that go through even past the seasonal time, but I don't know, what's your opinion on seasonal kind of content? It's like Leagues from RuneScape, if that just kind of persisted, and that was the only way to play the game.
As an MMO player that loves persistence, I'm not a fan of it.
Right.
Because I originally thought Warborn was supposed to just be Albion in space. And I like Albion Online.
Yeah.
And I like that it doesn't reset. So that's different for me. I didn't know it was seasonal like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me personally, I'd probably go C tier with the opportunity to get to B tier, but I'd have to play it some more. What do you think about that?
I've heard some things like it's a little more pay to win than Albion Online because there's like just straight up gear you can buy, I thought, or something like that. If that was true, that would be straight up D tier for me. But I'd have to honestly play it more right now. Since I'm so unfamiliar with it, I would just have to kind of defer to you.
I think I'm not sure about the pay to win. I'd have to look into that more as well, especially in a PvP environment. That's always a little dangerous. But I think I'm okay with C tier because there are some games in here that truly are going to deserve some D tier. Yeah. So, and I think something else we can do too is anytime we put a game into its category, whether it's C or B, we can put a game in front of it or behind it to kind of give it its own ranking system within that category. So
yeah, like high C, low C.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So next up we have, this could be a controversial one. It's Ultima Online. This is a very, very old MMO. One of the first really, I don't know if you'd call it mainstream. Was it mainstream at the time? MMOs weren't really mainstream when this game came out, but it's old. It's dated.
Yeah, I mean, so like one of the things that I love about my channel is I get to research this kind of stuff. And a lot of the times with these kinds of things, there's just not a lot of documentation for it.
Right.
So like in terms of if it was huge in the gaming space, it's hard to say. You'd have to ask someone who actually played it during that era.
Right. Yeah, so I covered it recently. I did a video called like the history of MMOs, and it's obviously a big part of the genre's history. There are some playable versions that a lot of people have a lot of fun with. I forget what it's called. It's like Outworlds or Underworld or something like that.
Outlands, I think.
Outlands, yeah.
It's just kind of like a lot of these older MMOs that have like 10 different servers. So a lot of new players trying to jump in, they're kind of confused on where to even go or what's even an official server. So like Ultima Online Outlands, I believe is not an official server. It's essentially a private server.
Right. Which some of these games on this list, they tend to thrive on private servers, like when we get into EverQuest later on. Are we just going to be going on the base version of the game or private servers included?
I would say if we're doing a tier list based on our opinion, it'd probably be like our personal experience with the game.
Sure.
Maybe private servers include, because like EverQuest for sure, like Project 1999, a lot of people play that over normal EverQuest, and I don't blame them for that because, like I said, there's like 20 official EverQuest official servers. So, like, where do you even start?
I like the idea that we just go off our personal experience. And so, with Ultima Online, for me personally, it's a little too dated in its configuration, its controls. Not necessarily the content itself, but trying to play Ultima Online in 2026, I found to be a difficult experience. However, I don't feel good putting it in the same category as Warborn, just because of its historical sort of significance in the MMO genre. So I think I'm going to go B tier. What do you think about that?
I think for what it did for the genre, it absolutely deserves to be in B tier.
Yeah.
I wish I had more experience with it. I played it a little bit and got an idea of how it functions. I would agree, like a lot of its systems are dated. I think the last time I played, like the UI in general was like trying to have multiple different windows all in the same spot. It's really confusing as a new player.
It's like trying to set up a YouTube stream. It's so complicated.
Yeah. It's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, B tier it is. People might be mad about that, but we'll see. Next up, we have Bless Unleashed. And as you can see, some of the logos are getting a little bit cut off. That's my fault. Yeah. Blame me. But we know what the game is. Bless Unleashed. And this can kind of cover all of Bless as a franchise. Most of the games are really similar, to be honest. Did you end up playing Bless Unleashed at all?
I did. I played Bless Unleashed at launch, and I did end up covering it. And
okay,
it was during the COVID era, so
gotcha.
It got a lot more popularity than it probably should have.
Right.
So that probably gives you an idea of where it's going to end up being on the tier list, but that's my experience with Bless Unleashed. Now, a lot of your viewers and our viewers probably know that Bless Online in general just has a tainted brand. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I recently, when I talked about Chrono Odyssey, I pointed out a lot of the similarities to Bless, and it's actually, this kind of transcends just those two games. It's a lot of Korean-made MMOs have a lot of similarities. However, in some of the games, I view this as a blatant negative, and some of them, they handle it a bit better when we're looking at something like a Throne of Liberty. But Bless Unleashed for me is, it was not the best experience I've ever had. There was a lot of bugs. Combat, which was one of the things that they said the game was so great at, I didn't find the combat very enjoyable. It felt really heavy. It didn't feel very fluid. For me personally, it's hovering between C and actually D tier. But I'd like to hear it.
I would have went with D tier personally.
Okay,
I saw like a lot of these Korean MMOs that have a lot of promise, but unfortunately underdeliver. There's a lot of foundation for a great game there. Yeah. They just tend to never really deliver what they're striving for. Yeah. Right. Like the combat is definitely really slow. You had a lot of like animations you couldn't cancel out of, so everything felt so dedicated once you started it. Right. I remember a lot of like later on areas was forced PvP during the leveling experience, so you were subject to get ganked on the way to max level. That's which could lead that could lead to a lot of griefing. Content wasn't like super engaging either. It was basically quest to quest to quest. You occasionally do a world boss with a couple people. Yeah. Quest. It was a lot of cookie cutter stuff. Yeah.
I found for my video, I had to rely on the sort of absurd parts of the game to make it entertaining. So like in the character creator, I made this just crazy looking like goblin guy with like the most insane proportions. And that ended up becoming one of the main talking points of my video because the rest of the game was just like very standard. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I definitely agree with a D tier.
All right, cool. Moving on to both EverQuests, but we are going to start with EverQuest 2, the sequel, obviously, to the original. EverQuest 2, let's try not to just compare it directly to the original EverQuest, but take a look at it as its own standalone MMO. For me, this is a classic that I have a lot of nostalgia with, just because I played it when I was younger. But does the game still hold up these days? It's tough to say. What are your thoughts?
So I actually have a lot more experience in EverQuest 2 than I do with EverQuest 1. Really? I did do a dedicated video to EverQuest 2 when they did a progression server.
Oh, nice.
A couple of years ago. Yeah. I got to a moderately high level. I didn't get to end game, but it was enjoyable to me. It made me wonder why it didn't really, make a splash when it came out. I was told that when EverQuest 2 came out, it was basically completely shuttered by World of Warcraft.
Well, so the EverQuest 2, I believe, came out either 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after World of Warcraft.
It was like almost the same exact time.
Right.
from what I remember.
Which is just a horrible financial, like PR move. Everything, every category, if way it could be a horrible move, it was a horrible move. But yeah, I have a ton of nostalgia with it because I remember me and my dad played EverQuest, and then EverQuest 2 came out, and we played that for quite a while before we did eventually switch to World of Warcraft. But I have a lot of memories from that game in the early days. It has one of the best housing systems, hands down, to this day. The amount of customization you can put into that is crazy. But I did play it recently, and I can't remember what they're called, but they had these things called, they're like abyssal dungeons or something like that. And you could level up really, really fast, even like completely solo. And it took a lot of the fun out of the game. And then on top of that, you have to take a look at Daybreak Games whenever they take over something like that. There's a ton of pay to win now that exists. So I think for me, I'd be okay with B tier for EverQuest 2.
I would probably lean more towards C. Like,
really?
I think, unfortunately, for where it's at now, it's got a lot of the same issues that games like the original EverQuest and Ultima Online have, where it's kind of in the same spot where there's like 20 different servers. New players aren't going to know where to start. What's free? What's not free? What's classic geared versus modern? Which ones are pay to win? Which ones don't have pay to win? You have to do a lot of research before you actually start playing, just to see what type of game you want to play. Because, like, for instance, the server I played, the progression server, did not have any sort of pay to win at all.
Right.
It was all very classic. You had to earn everything.
Right. I think I'm okay with C tier, but I'm gonna put it above Warborn. I have to do that.
I would say high C. High C, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on to the original EverQuest. Now, if you put this below EverQuest 2, I think like you might get your channel brigaded with hate for the next year. What's your thoughts on the original EverQuest? You said you have more experience with EverQuest 2. I definitely have. I would say it's about equal. At this point, about equal experience in both games. I still haven't played a progression lock server with either of them, which is something I want to do. But earlier this year, I actually watched a video on YouTube that was like a 11-hour movie, basically, on EverQuest, the original EverQuest. He was playing on Project 1999. And it just gave me such an appreciation for that game. It built so much of what we know modern MMOs to be. A lot of people that worked on original World of Warcraft actually say that EverQuest was their main inspiration. But I mean, does it hold up in 2026? It's definitely dated, whether you're playing on private servers or the main version. And the main version is filled with a bunch of pay to win. Like, I bought a level 100 character after 50 hours of gameplay because I just got stuck in the leveling process and I wanted to get past that point. So, but yeah, what do you think?
I think for what it did for the genre, I think it easily hits S. It's a name that even though it is very old at this point, everyone has either heard of it or knows it.
Yeah.
People who have played it think of it fondly. People who try it now can see why it was remembered fondly, even if they don't appreciate it nowadays. I think for what it did for the genre, I think it easily, especially because it's probably arguably the first mainstream MMO that we could think of.
100%, yeah.
I would easily put it in S.
So you say S tier. So I was thinking A tier. And here's why. Just strictly because, like you kind of said with EverQuest 2, if you're a new player coming to this in 2026, the amount of outside knowledge and research and time you're going to have to put in to understand not only how to play, but what version you should play, and also just how the game functions. Like, you literally have to go up to NPCs and press H to hail them. Yeah. So I think personally for me, just in the year 2026, I think I still respect everything it did for the genre, obviously. I have a huge amount of fondness and nostalgia for EverQuest, but I would go A tier. What do you think about that?
I think I'm obviously glazing it just because I appreciate what it did for the genre. Like, without EverQuest, there is no WoW.
Right.
Because WoW basically, copied everything over from EverQuest, just made it more mainstream. And I think that's how I'm looking at it, is that even if I didn't spend a ton of time with it, it's like what really set the groundwork for the genre I love. So I agree with A. I think personally, in my mind, like it has to be S just because of what it did.
We'll go. How about we go high A for now,
High A,
potentially
yeah.
top of A, depending on
Yeah.
how this turns out. But okay, yeah, sounds good. Next up, we have one that I haven't played yet, and I feel awful because it's absolutely popping off right now. I've actually watched a lot of content on it, but I haven't personally played it. But I think you have, right? You've played Project Gorgon?
I covered it a couple years ago.
Okay.
I'm happy to see that it's actually getting a lot of attention. It's
Like
one of
right now.
those indie, yeah, definitely. It's one of those indie games that a lot of the player base has kind of been asking everyone to come try it for years.
Right.
And now that it's gotten the full release, everyone is finally doing that and sees what we've been trying to tell the rest of the MMO community. It's a fun game.
It has like insanely deep systems, is my understanding of it, and just a ton of customization and variability in how you want to play your character. It's one that I'm probably going to check out in the next few months. I know there's been a ton of coverage on YouTube. But what is the game? Like, what is the basis of it? Is it more of a survival-esque, more of a crafting focused, or more of a, how would you describe it?
It's like a mix of everything that has been in every MMO over the past like 20 years. So like it's skill-based like RuneScape and old school EverQuest, but it's got a lot of like modern combat tropes like WoW. So you have like a GCD. A lot of the skills kind of intertwine with each other. So like if you get to like level 20 fishing, it will unlock a higher max level for another skill that potentially coincides with it.
Right.
So there's like incentive to train absolutely everything. There's dungeons. There's a lot of incentive to socialize with other players. There's events. It's got a bit of everything.
Yeah.
I think the main drawback that turns everybody off is just the graphics and the indie jankness. It's all there because it is still absolutely an indie MMO.
Yeah.
So it's not going to have the budget to have like these really smooth, cool looking animations. You're still going to have like you walk into water and all of a sudden you're in this really weird looking swimming animation. It's not smooth. I mean,
dude, when New World came out, you literally couldn't swim. Your character would just walk.
Yep.
So they're already doing better than AAA Studio in that regard. All right. I'm going to defer to your expertise with Project Gorgon just because I haven't given it its time. I would say as just like a general vibe of what I've been seeing about the game, if I had to, rate it as an outsider, I'd probably put it into high B, low A. But that's just from what I've heard about the game and what I've seen personally. It looks like my type of game, so I'm really excited to play it.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it, especially as a RuneScape fan.
Yeah.
It's a tough one because, so I remember when Project Gorgon released its alpha build, and I think I was either still in high school or just graduated high school. So like back in like 2011
they had
or something.
Computers back then?
Yeah. So I've seen its development over the past decade. And I think to really hit that mainstream stride it's looking for, I would either have to say I'd probably go with a high B just like you.
Okay.
Low A. It's trying its best to get there, and I see the potential. And I have faith in that it will reach that because the team behind it is so passionate.
Yeah.
They've gone through so much. So I couldn't recommend it enough, but I would have to say it's probably going to be high B.
All right, we can go with high B with that. And at the end, if we take a look at this and we're like, wait a second, a couple things are off, we can make some adjustments if need be. So next up, you guys can probably see that logo there. It says it's Fellowship. Okay, this is the MMO that just came out quite recently. I think just before the year. It's basically it's World of Warcraft condensed into just dungeons. Is it truly an MMO? That's probably up for debate. It's more of a hub-based dungeon crawler, but it uses a lot of your typical MMO elements when it comes to actual combat and group mechanics. And you've got different classes like mages, and you have a tank, and you have your healers and things like that. So I actually really enjoyed playing Fellowship. But in terms of, I don't know, how's it doing now? Have you seen anything about it recently?
So I believe they just reset the season ladder. So it's a new season,
Right.
which I believe brought back a lot of players. But it was kind of quiet for a while.
Yeah, that was my impression. Like everyone was playing it that first week, and obviously there was a lot of sponsored content creators and streams out there, so a lot of people were into it, and I had a blast. Like I'm not gonna say I didn't have a ton of fun, but I do worry that in the long term, I'm not sure how well this game's gonna do. But if they're getting a lot of players back by just releasing a new season, I guess that's a good sign.
Yeah, I think it's going to have its dedicated players. I think the best way to look at it is it's going to probably have a player base much like an action RPG like Diablo or Path of Exile.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really going to be a dedicated player base that is always going to be playing it at all times, especially in the middle of a season.
Right.
You'll always see that huge spike in population during a new season, and then in the middle of it, it's going to be really quiet until the next season. And
The
I think
one
that's
thing
kind of how it's going to go.
they did really well is the actual mechanics within the dungeons. It's like no joke, insanely difficult, especially towards the higher ends of the game. Like you miss one little thing, your whole group's wiping over and over and over. And difficult doesn't always equal good, obviously, but I think they did a really good job with it in Fellowship at keeping it engaging. And it teaches you along the way, you know, as a brand new player, you get thrown into really easy dungeons and you slowly get better and better at your class as you learn the rotation. So I did enjoy it. I'd go high C personally, but what are you thinking?
I would have to be I didn't like it.
Oh, really?
But I didn't like it for the culture that it brings in is unfortunately the high efficiency, will run past ads, will ignore mechanics, tries to run the dungeon as fast as possible, which is unfortunately the kind of stuff that it was going to bring in.
Yeah.
But I can't deny that there is so much quality in the game. Like there is definitely passion behind how the characters look, how the environments look, all the spell animations. It all looks so cool. There is definitely a lot of care put into that. I just feel that maybe they didn't realize that the community they were bringing in.
Can you blame the game itself for the community it fosters, though?
No, but it is just an unfortunate side effect of how it's going to be, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame them, but it is going to affect my experience, and that's just an unfortunate side effect of it.
Yeah.
Like as a new player, I didn't want to continue because that's not the type of game I wanted to play. I didn't want to have to be told that I need to go as fast as possible in a beginning dungeon just because they'll kick me if I don't.
Right.
So I can definitely see where it's trying to go. I'm hoping that they can maybe implement some sort of systems. Otherwise, it's basically I have to exclusively play with my buddies.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel like a proper multiplayer game at that point.
All right, where are you going on your list then?
I would have to probably agree with you that it's a high C just because of its quality.
I can't put it above EverQuest 2. I just can't. So I'm going to go right in between EverQuest 2.
I would say it's above Warborn.
And yeah, exactly. Above Warborn, below EverQuest 2. I think that's a safe place for now.
Yeah.
You touched on something there, though, that's interesting. It's like when I'm thinking about an MMO, like think of the thumbnails that we as MMO creators use. It's always showing this wide open world and this kind of relaxing experience as you delve into all the systems and learn everything. And Fellowship doesn't really have that because, first of all, it's not an open world, but it's not really relaxing. Like it's just go. So yeah, I hear you on that. But next up, this one we might differ on. I'm not sure what your opinion is when it comes to more PvP focused games. But next up we have Albion Online, which is, in my opinion, if you look at PvP games, it's the best available currently if you want to play PvP within an MMORPG.
Yeah, I love PvP when the PvP is good.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of MMOs with good PvP right now? Unfortunately, no.
Absolutely not.
Not even want to touch it.
Right.
Albion Online, though, I'm not familiar with its launch phase, but I would have to assume because it wasn't influenced by an Eastern market design, it was probably less pay to win than it is now. You can basically buy like max skills and equipment in Albion right now with just straight up money.
Is that I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. Because I know you can get the membership or whatever, and that gives you faster XP rates. But can you actually just purchase things?
Yeah, you can buy gold and then convert
it. Oh,
to
you can buy
silver.
gold and convert it to get the best items, right? But I don't think that gives you experience.
You can just buy fame books from the auction house.
Okay, see.
So it's technically pay to win. It's
right.
You have to jump through some hoops to get there, but yeah, you can.
Gotcha. That's always tough in a PvP game, any pay to win at all, because obviously when you're playing other players, you want the most fair environment possible, right?
Yep.
I love the game, but I think my biggest drawback about Albion is that as a solo player or as someone who's just jumping in, it's pretty difficult to find your path and find your way in the world. I luckily, when I had my review, I had a couple of friends play with me, but if I didn't have that, it would have been a really awful experience. So I wish they had a more streamlined solo experience, or at least a way to streamline solo players into a guild or into a group of players, which it didn't seem like they really had.
They kind of do now with the faction system. You have like faction PvP areas where you'll join. I think there's like 3 where you can join a faction of 3 choices, and within your faction area, you can fight other factions. Right. And that PvP is a lot less brutal. If you die in that PvP, you don't lose everything.
Gotcha.
As far as I'm aware.
Okay. Yeah, because they might be in like the yellow zones or whatever.
Yep.
Right. Yep. Okay. I think for me, I'm going B tier for Albion. I really enjoyed the time I did play the game. And I found the PvP to be quite good, though it is simple in a way, in some ways. But you only have 3 abilities, right? When I take a look at PvP in other games like old school RuneScape, even though there's no abilities, the learning curve in old school RuneScape is insane.
Yeah. It's definitely still skill based.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think the combat is super fun. The PvP is super fun. If you can find a awesome dedicated group, like you can have a lot of fun in Albion Online. And it's one of the first examples of a successful Kickstarter or indie MMO too. So like you also have to tip your cap at that. So I would agree with where you would say probably you said high B.
I was gonna go low B.
Low B?
Lower B, yeah.
I would say B in general.
B in general. I'd say this is mid B. But we'll see what else ends up there. So sorry about that. Excuse me. All right. Next up on the list, we have. Oh, this is another game that I've only actually put like a couple of hours into. I haven't played it too much. It's really popular right now, though. A lot of people are talking about it. This is an indie MMO called Apogeia. Is that how you'd pronounce that?
I assume so.
That's what I've been calling
Apogeia,
yeah. It's a pretty unique game. It has it's trying to do the whole no hand holding. You got to figure out your own path in the world. It's got a lot of very, very interesting systems. Have you played much?
I tend to steer clear of very early access builds. Just because I know my progress is going to get reset. So like if I get hooked into it and I spend 20 hours, it just feels so bad when I get wiped like that. I've seen how it looks though. It's definitely up my alley as like a RuneScape fan.
Yeah.
So I think I would enjoy it when it releases so I can give it a proper try. But have I played it? No.
I think my main problem with a lot of these games that are sort of doing the whole return to the classics mentality, which is a little bit what Apogeia is doing, is that it's really hard to return to the classics when you can just pull up a browser and Google exactly what you need to do or follow a guide exactly written out to get this thing or unlock that item. I think Apogeia is a game that is trying to do callback in a sense to those types of games, but it just doesn't work quite as well in this modern era of gaming that we exist in, because you're just going to look up information anyway. It's kind of like with like certain games when they try to not have an in-game map to like add more friction, but then everyone just makes their own maps online anyway. So I don't know if that takes away from the game too much. It's just playing it in 2026 is always going to be a different experience than if this game had released in like the year 2000 or something. I'm pretty hopeful for the game. It seems like it's gotten a lot of high praise from a lot of content creators. I haven't played it enough to make like a super strong opinion, but I'd be okay putting it in high C, low B personally. With potential to move up, by the way. It has a ton of potential. I need to see it more fleshed out.
I would agree. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with it, but from what I've seen, I mean, I like where it's going. I like what it's trying to do. So yeah, C or B for me as well.
I think I'll go low B for now. All right. This is I mean, I've made so many lists across my channel, and every time I talk about this game, it's just like nonstop glazing. Like might be the biggest fanboy ever. Old school RuneScape. Do we even need to discuss it too much?
Probably not.
It's D tier.
I think if you said D tier, you'd probably have to be careful exiting your home.
I might get banned. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the quintessential. It's the MMO I've played the most in my entire life since I was a kid. I still, every few months, end up sinking another 100 to even 1,000 hours into the game, depending on how long I play for. I never really quit playing. But we can talk about recently they had Sailing release. What's been your opinion on Sailing? Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it yet, just because it's kind of like how you said, where you never really quit RuneScape. You always just come back eventually.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the same for me. I've been playing it since I was in like elementary school. Like, I've never stopped playing it. The thing with me though is I've never gotten like super far into it. I've had several 99s, but I've never like hit the proper end game. But I can't help but come back every now and then and just spend a ton of time into it. I'm very similar in that sense, because I don't really do much of the end game like PVM. It's what keeps me coming back is the skilling system every time. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite part of the game. So, gotta love just leveling up.
Yeah, I mean, the dopamine, the number go up system, it's amazing. They just released the cow boss. That's right. Someone in my chat reminded me.
Yeah.
There's some controversy around that cow boss. I heard they added in some. Listen, we don't need to get. This is a PG stream, okay? But if you're interested,
lots
go
of
look
innuendos.
It up. Yeah, exactly. All right, our first S tier, deservedly so, I would say. But now we're getting into our ArchAge. This is a game that I have very little experience with. I have played it, maybe for a couple hours, on a private server. I don't even remember what private server I played it on, but it kind of seemed like a precursor to a lot of what we see in more modern Korean MMOs. I think it's from Korea.
It is.
Yeah.
It's Joshua Sung or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't remember his name exactly, but he's like a legend in the MMO space over there.
So he created this 2D MMO way back in the day. I can't quite remember the name. And then he made Lineage. And then he made ArchAge, correct?
Yep. Right. Yep. I think it's something like that. Like he's a big name in the MMO space.
Yeah. So did you play much ArchAge, the original one? I think it was released in like 2012, 2013.
Yeah, it was around that time. I didn't play the original, but I no-lifed Unchained when it came out.
Okay, right.
Hands down, probably one of the more recent fun experiences I've had in an MMO.
Yep.
I was playing every single day, like easily 4 or 5 hours a day. I was sinking tons of time into Unchained. What made me quit, though, is what makes a lot of people quit these Korean MMOs, is just the pay to win.
Gotcha.
They promised there was going to be no pay to win in Unchained, and then they released the Arc Pass, and everybody was like, well, this is just pay to win again. So
that's how it always goes, right?
Made me quit.
It's always a bait and switch. Yeah. That's unfortunate. I don't know too much about the original. I don't know too much about Unchained. I didn't play any of that either. Where would you be comfortable placing the original ArchAge? I'll defer to your expertise on this one.
The original ArchAge, you could essentially just buy top tier gear. You could reset any failures you had. You could basically buy materials and stuff. The way it played, though, man, it was so fun. It was so buttery smooth. The PvP was great. Like, just a lot of cool systems, but I think just because of how much it has burned a lot of us ArchAge players, if you've played ArchAge, you know exactly the feeling I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
I don't think I could ever really put it past a high B, just because of how it was. Like, if it did not have everything against it, it would easily be high A. But
my thing was, looking at like the trailers, like I can imagine if it was the year 2013, the game looked amazing
Oh
for
yeah.
the time. Like, and even Korean MMOs to this day still kind of take the lead when it comes to realistic graphics. But like, this game would totally hold up if it was released today. But yeah, I'm okay with. I don't feel quite comfortable putting it above Project Gorgon. What do you think?
I could see that just because Project Gorgon's playable.
Yeah, yeah,
Officially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with that. Below Project Gorgon, but definitely still high B.
Okay. We'll go with that for now. And then the next game we have coming up is obviously the next ArchAge, which is a bit of a strange scenario because they're actually transitioning away from the MMO label. And this is going to be a single-player RPG, online RPG with multiplayer elements. ArchAge Chronicles, set to release this year. Have you heard much about this?
I haven't seen much about it at all. No.
Oh, really?
I mean, there's just that trailer that they showed. I think
Yeah.
they're in like what the VGAs or something like that, or
Yeah.
I don't remember when exactly they showed it, but we haven't really seen much about it other than it is supposed to be within the ArchAge universe. I guess it's got the same guy leading it too. We just don't know a lot about it.
Right. Well, from what I understand, it was originally being marketed as ArchAge 3. And then they changed the name to ArchAge Chronicles sometime, like officially last year. Yeah, I think I first saw that trailer probably 2 years ago, and it's basically the only piece of content we have regarding it because every time there's a video talking about the upcoming MMOs, they use the exact same trailer. I don't know. I hate how a lot of these games are turning away from the MMO label, but then they're still like kind of an open world. It's like persistent. You can still play with like hundreds of other people. I understand like if you're very strict about the MMO definition, it might not fit it perfectly, but it does kind of seem like just a marketing tactic at this point because they don't want to tie themselves to, you know, a dying genre if that's what they're seeing in terms of advertising. So
I also think they're trying to ride the hype train of Crimson Desert.
yeah. Well, Crimson Desert, Elden Ring, any single player RPG that's done well in the past little while, which is there's plenty of them, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's the exact same. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say because we don't really know enough about it. I think I'm gonna go C tier, just based on vibes, based on no other reason. I'm gonna go C tier. What do you think about that?
I would agree. Like I said, I don't know enough about it. There hasn't really been shown enough about the game yet. So we don't know how it's going to work. We don't know what the systems are going to be. Is it supposed to mimic ArchAge? Is it going to be completely different?
Right, and who knows? Maybe it comes out and it blows that out of the water. But yeah, we'll see. All right, next up we've got Bitcraft Online. This is an early access game. I know you said you're not a fan of early access games. That was, I think, released for the first time in a playable state like a year ago. But basically, it's a very craft-heavy focused game with a massive world, like a completely insanely massive world where you can basically become the emperor of your own town, or you can go join a town and you can be a living kind of part of that town. There was very little combat in the game when I personally played it, but the crafting system was cool. It's pretty similar to RuneScape. I have high hopes for this game, but it wasn't all that fun. When I think about a game being a ton of fun, Bitcraft was more like a second monitor game where you're AFKing like most of the time. So
yeah, for me, it kind of falls under these survival craft games that are like parading as an MMO.
Yeah.
You just do a lot of crafting, you do a lot of like building, but you don't do a lot of like actual engaging gameplay.
Right.
So, something that would make me want to log in every single day and do it. Once I've built my building or I've built my city, there's little incentive for me to keep logging into your game at that point, other than like just seeing other players.
Right.
I want to have more stuff to do besides just like survive, quote unquote.
Yeah, I would say it's more MMO than some of the games, these survival games that are calling themselves MMO, just because there are certain social elements, such as, you know, creating a town with a group of other players and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, it needs more to it for it to become more fun. And the combat really needs to get sorted because when I played, the combat was, it was basically click and wait, but it like wasn't even good click and wait. It was like janky click and wait. So for me, I'm going to also go C tier, I think, for Bitcraft.
Fortunately, I haven't played it.
Oh, really?
I've wanted to. It's on my radar as a game to cover at some point.
Yeah.
I think they're crawling closer and closer to at least a 1.0 release.
Yeah.
So it's
which is
going to
be a fresh wipe, as far as I understand.
It'll definitely be on my list once it gets there. So I would have to kind of defer to you and just probably.
I think I'll go C tier for now. We'll see once 1.0 comes out, once the early access is over. I could definitely move up, but someone in chat just said, isn't runecrafting just as AFK sometimes? Yeah, I mean, there's different levels of AFK, though. And in Bitcraft, there are, like, moments of, like, AFK where you can leave your computer for, like, 30 minutes at a time and not have to touch anything while it auto-completes whatever task you set it to. So it's a little different. But, all right, moving on.
We have someone in my chat saying that there is actually a permanent world in Bitcraft, too. So, I mean, if that's the case, then I'll just have to check it out at some point.
Yeah. It's definitely worth checking out, for sure. But okay, moving on, we have Black Desert Online. This could be a controversial one as well. These days, I think the main draws of Black Desert are its life skilling system, obviously, which I think is one of the best in the genre, to be honest. And then its PvP, which I guess a lot of people love its PvP. I've never participated in it myself. But the last time I played Black Desert was like 2 years ago, and I did enjoy myself. It obviously has some pay-to-win issues, though.
Yeah. I'd say like Black Desert Online is probably the evolution of what ArchAge should have evolved into.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a really good way to put that.
Because where ArchAge failed, essentially Black Desert picked up the pieces and actually found success.
Yeah.
Because it is a Korean MMO. It still has its pay to win, but it has somehow found an audience.
Yeah.
Beyond all that.
It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever played to this day. Like, if you're just sailing and fishing, it's like amazing. I actually get immersed into that game, which is not something I even say about games in the big 2026 as often anyway. But I think for me personally, I'm going somewhere between an A or a high B. I did enjoy my time in Black Desert. However, I think with Crimson Desert coming out, it's just going to kind of go over and fix all the things that were problems with Black Desert, which I think was just overall too much bloat and trying to force multiplayer elements where it probably didn't even really need them. So,
yeah, I'd probably agree. I'd probably lean more towards B.
Okay.
For me, it's mostly just because it is a game that like you want to put a lot more time into it, but there's going to be something that will probably just rub you the wrong way.
Yeah.
To the point of where it might actually lean you towards just quitting. And that's what a lot of Korean MMOs do. Like, they're so fun. They're gorgeous. They have a lot of deep systems that are addicting, but then something just kills it. And Black Desert is no different.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. And actually, you might have changed my mind a little bit, because when I think back to my time playing Black Desert, I had just finished, sorry. I had just basically finished like a fresh start server where you're able to level up and get all the gear really fast. And the second I finished playing that character on that server, they then got transferred to a regular server. So I tried to go back and play it. And when I logged into the regular server, my inventory was just completely full of items. I had no idea what any of them meant. I had about 700 red dot notifications, like you find in a lot of Korean MMOs. And I quit immediately when I tried to go back to the game. So I think I'm okay with low B tier.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, from the creators of RuneScape, they're going to bring to you the next RuneScape, RuneScape 4, or RuneScape 2, depending on how you look at it. Brighter Shores, made by the Gower brothers. Did you play this at all?
I played it quite a while. Man, what a letdown.
Dude, what a complete disaster.
I wouldn't say it's a disaster. I'm a little more forgiving than other content creators, I would say. I'm able to see the silver lining, or at least some positivity, in every game I cover, even if it is largely bad. But this hurt a little deeper than it probably has any right to, just because of my bias for RuneScape.
Right.
Like, this really should have been a lot more than what it is. And there's just like fundamental design things here that is like, why would you ever think that
Yeah.
that was a good idea?
Well, so at least for me, the room system is actually the biggest offender. It just kind of completely takes me out of the large world feeling that an MMO is supposed to give you. It's like you're stuck in these small little boxes. And then the
I
whole
don't understand it.
only being able to train certain skills in certain parts of the world just fragmented it even more. So now I'm in small boxes, which are in smaller zones where I can't even use all of my skills. And then, you know, you level up and get strong in the first zone. And then when you start in the second zone, you basically start from scratch and you're completely weak again. And, yeah, it was just, for me personally, I just had much higher expectations coming from the people who literally created, you know, our first S tier on the list.
Yep. Now, this one, it's a struggle for me because with our conversation before we went live, this is a game that absolutely is asking for its player base to have some shred of patience, give it some grace. Like it's trying to just not be another RuneScape. And I definitely hear Gower when he is asking for that grace and patience.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these MMOs just need people to try it. Give it some, just try it, you know. If it's not for you right now, it doesn't require all this ire, but man, like,
it is kind of strange that he went for that route though. Like, your game is really similar to RuneScape in so many ways. Like, even the default character's wearing like the same clothes. Like, so I mean, you got to separate yourself a bit more if you're really trying to separate yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think he should have just tried something completely different, but I think at the same time, like, I also don't necessarily trust a lot of the community to really give him the ability to do so. I think if he didn't do a copy of RuneScape, people would have been asking for it.
Yeah.
And because he didn't do an exact one-to-one copy of it and was trying to do something different, it failed anyways.
Right.
So I don't know. With this one, I don't see it being any higher than like a low B or
a low
C
B
at best.
Oh
yeah.
I'm D tier on this one personally.
I mean, I had fun with it. They've definitely improved some things. Like combat is no longer when you go to a new chapter, you're completely reset. It's now a universal skill.
Right. You probably have more recent experience. My only time playing this game was in the first 2 weeks it came out.
Yeah, I would say low C.
Okay.
Low
okay.
C. Because there's quality here. Like it's got good graphics for what it is.
Right.
It's not like store-bought assets. I'd have to give that to it as well. It's got some kudos there. I see a foundation of something that is trying to be different.
Right.
Is it working? No.
I'm okay with low C. Like I said, if we have if you're saying B tier and I'm saying D tier, then C is in the middle. So we're gonna make compromises because that keeps us both honest, hopefully.
Yeah.
And hopefully the audience doesn't, you know, rip us apart. Okay, next up is Age of Conan. Age of Conan Unchained. And we talked before stream about this one in particular. This is another game that I haven't played, but I'm probably going to be playing soon. Did you say this was Daybreak also runs this one?
No, I think this is Funcom.
Oh, Funcom,
So
right.
The Secret World and more recently Dune Awakening.
Right.
This is just one of their MMOs that they've kept online, but they haven't added any brand new content in years. I think the last expansion was like 2021.
Okay.
And it was like just a couple quests or something like that.
Right.
This game is known for having a very interesting combat system.
Is it still interesting in 2026?
Not really. It's odd. It's odd and different, I would say. Has other MMOs adopted what it is or evolved it? I would say no, because it's probably not worth adopting.
Right.
Into a modern era, but it's got like this system where you'll have high attacks, low attacks, mid attacks, center attacks, stuff like that, and that's how you engage in combat.
I think so the first time I heard about this game, like truly heard about it would have been Lazy Peon's review in like 2023. I think I had maybe heard of it in passing before, but I never took a much deeper look at it. But it's been one I'm like super interested in trying because so many people tell me there's a ton of unique systems inside of it.
Yep.
But yeah, super hard for me to have an opinion. What do you think, having played a lot more of the game than me? Where does that fit on this list, especially in the year 2026?
Well, it easily goes into S tier because you can have your characters naked.
Oh,
and there is actual nudity in the game. So.
Vagrant is a gooner. I didn't know. News to me, brother.
That surprised the heck out of me when I saw that. I was like, oh, you can be naked in this game. Interesting.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Definite S tier.
It kind of works a lot.
They should call it
like,
Age of Conan Unclothed.
Yeah. But it kind of works like there's like adventure packs, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons Online, where like, there's various zones that are specific for your level.
Okay.
And end game, you have like all these different content packs that you can tackle it anytime you want, as far as I'm aware.
Is it like super instanced, the way like D&D Online?
Yeah.
Is? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I need you to give it a rating because I'm just not educated enough on it. I would say strictly off vibes, it'd probably be higher C. But that's just vibes.
I would agree.
Okay.
Higher C, probably mid C, honestly.
Mid C.
There's a reason that it hasn't really continued.
Right. Well, I'm excited to try it. I'm gonna try it this year for sure, and maybe I'll come back and I'll love the game, and I'll just be naked the whole time I play it, and it'll be great. But
all right, you could definitely play it for laughs. So.
Next up we have, and this one's interesting because I think some news just came out about this game, but we have Corepunk, which is click to move, or maybe there was WASD, but it was a top-down, I think League of Legends kind of turned into an MMO, similar combat style, similar in graphical style even. And then I did enjoy the game. I played it quite a bit, but I think we just saw some news that this game might not actually be coming to a full release.
Yep. It's a bit of a shame.
Yeah. Did you play it much at all?
I did play it. It's definitely like you mix League of Legends with World of Warcraft's aesthetics and humor and gameplay. I liked it for what it was, but a lot of these indie MMOs though, it's like the vision is there. Are they gonna hit that vision though?
Yeah.
And that is always a huge gamble.
I remember the first time I played it, it was like insanely difficult to the point that it was tedious, but then I played a more recent build, I think it was a year after that, and I actually enjoyed it way more. They made the new player experience a lot more streamlined without taking out too much character from the game. But then I just haven't heard about it in, I think, about a year at this point, until the other day when I saw someone posted a video saying that doesn't look like they're going to actually make it to a full release. I think personally for me, I'm going to have to go low C tier. I never made it to the end game. I never really got to see what the later levels entailed. I heard that some of the actual like dungeons and group content was pretty good, but I never got that far. So,
yeah, it's one of those games where like the developer, I covered it a couple of years. I think it was last year, maybe early last year, and like right after I covered it and they released their quote unquote early access, the developers just kind of disappeared and delayed a lot of updates. So, I mean, for what it was very content anemic.
Yep.
I could even see it being like high D, low C. So I think C is probably a good middle ground, maybe low C's.
I got it behind Brighter Shores in C, so the very lowest C so far.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll keep it there then. All right, this next one is one we talked a little bit about before stream as well, and I think you and me are going to have potentially different opinions here. I made a video. By the way, this is the Quinfall, for those of you who can't tell from the logo. I made a video last year calling this the biggest MMO flop of 2025. I'm not a big fan of the game. I don't like the amount of what I assumed was a scam with how many store-bought assets I saw and some of the other content I saw surrounding this game. And also, it kind of felt like a BDO like copy-paste when you take a look at the map and the systems and how it works. That on top of all the jank, I did not enjoy the game. It kind of felt to me like a better AI than we have now attempted to create an MMO. That was really how I felt about it. However, I've heard that recently there's been some more positive news about this game. Apparently, it just went to 7,000 players on Steam a couple of weeks ago, which is crazy. So apparently it's having a bit of a resurgence, but what do you think?
I think it's just very mediocre. There's a lot of AI stuff in there. There's a lot of store-bought assets in there for sure. But I mean, is it offensively bad? No. Its systems work. It's got a lot of systems in the game that may appeal to a lot of people. It's like a lot of the games I've covered. Like, it's not for me, but it is for someone out there.
Yeah.
And Kira said basically the same thing. Like, someone will like the game, and it seems like it is resonating with a small community.
Well, I keep getting comments on my videos. People are like, "Why aren't you talking about the Quinfall?" I'm like, "I did. I said it was a scam, and I hate it." But for me personally, I would just like to say, for me personally, this game is a D tier from my experience playing the game. However, I haven't played it since I first explored it, and I probably only put 20 hours into it. But yeah, where would you put it?
I could see it being a high D, low C, just because of maybe its history. I mean, like, I think where it's at now, it potentially deserves a second chance from those who wrote it off.
Right.
I would say, like, if it goes on sale for like $2, which it does quite often.
Yeah, it does.
It's not a bad weekend to jump into it and just mess around.
Yeah.
You could definitely do worse. Is it going to be a game I could recommend as someone's next big MMO to play for years on end? Probably not.
I'm okay with low C. I'm okay with having a little bit more positivity when it comes to MMOs. You know, we see.
Yeah, I would say it's above Corepunk, though.
Really? Okay.
Because it's functional.
1 second. One of these games seems like it's actually going to exist a little bit longer, so we can put the Quinfall in front of Corepunk. I'm okay with that. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. I would say the Quinfall for me, I got it for $2 when it went on sale. So like, yeah, for $2 you can get a coffee, or you can spend 20 hours. Even if you have an objectively, let's say, non-optimal experience, there's going to be some funny stuff that happens when you play it. Just it's worth it in that sense. So I'm okay with that. Now, next up, we have a classic. One of the oldest MMOs on this list, for sure. Dark Age of Camelot. Do you have much experience with this game? Did you play it when you were younger at all, or?
No, this is one of those games I wanted to play as a kid, but like I said, because my parents didn't want to buy me a proper gaming PC, I couldn't. It's a game I actually covered last year, like proper.
Yeah.
The retail. I mean, like, this is another one of the OGs that like paved a lot of groundwork for modern MMOs that we like now. So
it paved the groundwork for, I think, I'm gonna butcher this wording for it, but it was like realm versus realm, sort of these massive sort of like faction wars in a way that I don't think really existed in many MMOs before that. I know my dad and me were playing EverQuest mainly around the time that Dark Age of Camelot was popular, but I remember we would talk about it a lot. Because I think we ended up trying it once for a little while, but I was so young I hardly remember. We ended up going back to EverQuest, but I mean, what it's done for the genre, it's any MMO history or looking back sort of video has to talk about Dark Age of Camelot.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, it's basically the MMO that really made PvP a thing in MMOs in general.
Right.
I would have to say. It kind of proved that players wanted to have that competitiveness in an MMO besides just going out together in a dungeon. It was like, well, what if we offered the experience of being able to fight each other?
Yeah. And it was like large groups of PvP, right? It wasn't just like one-on-one. It was like mass PvP. Yeah, that's always cool to see. Yeah, I think for me personally, I'm going A tier, but below EverQuest. But that's like personal bias. I'm happy to hear where you'd put it.
You said A tier or low B or high B, you said?
I said A tier, but below EverQuest.
Below EverQuest. Yeah, I could agree with... I would have to say probably no higher than a B, just because of how it plays nowadays.
You've played it more recently.
Yeah.
I haven't covered it on my channel, so...
Retail is completely dead.
Gotcha.
the way it works retail now, you're basically playing a single player game where it is meant to have you fight other players, but like good luck
Gotcha.
finding other players until you hit end game.
Okay. I'm willing to put it then somewhere in the ArchAge Ultima Online area of B.
I could see that just because I mean, like if you play what is it called, the Eden server,
Yeah.
then the game is playable.
Okay.
But that's a private server,
right?
So.
Interesting. It's another one that I'm gonna have to try myself more recently and see how it plays this year. There's so many games like that where it's like, yeah, they were amazing when they were popular,
Yep.
and some of them are actually like not even playable because there's so much required group content, and without other players, it's kind of like, in 2026 that sucks, right? So, but yeah, I'm okay with higher up in the B tier, not quite top of B tier, but higher up.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right, next up we have DC Universe Online, the first of a few superhero MMOs that we have throughout this list. When it comes to superhero MMOs, we all know the main one is City of Heroes, but there is DC Universe Online and then Champions Online. We'll get into all of those. But I feel like you kind of can't rate these games without talking about the other ones because they do a lot of the same things, but they do a lot of things different as well. I've played DC Universe Online and City of Heroes, but I haven't played Champions Online. But I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So DC Universe Online, I used to be a dedicated DC Universe Online channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back in the day, that was my main MMO.
I think you were the first person I've ever met to come from DC Universe Online.
It was, I was like just getting out of, I think, another MMO that I can't remember right now, but it kind of just jumped into my life at the proper time to where I latched onto it.
Right.
And you ask a lot of, if there is some DCU players in the chat, like they'll know what I'm talking about, where like launch DC is very different than what DC is now.
Right.
Unfortunately, it is now pay to win, very bare bones, very like run of the mill content releases, but release DCUO had some of the coolest content for a superhero MMO. It was probably,
when was the game
Heroes
released?
could have became. I think it was 2008.
Oh,
is when DCUO came out.
Okay.
Or maybe no, it might be 2011. I don't remember.
I thought it was more recent because City of Heroes is like 2000.
It might be 2011, 2012.
Yeah, that sounds more correct. And even just looking at the graphics of the game, I feel like that fits the time frame better. But interesting. So you're a little bit biased with DC Universe. I've actually played it only for a couple of hours. Like when I was going to make my City of Heroes video, I actually started with DC Universe Online, and I was like, I can't cover future superhero MMOs without covering the OG.
Yeah.
And so I basically quit DC Universe and just went straight to City of Heroes after that. The few hours I played, it felt like a pretty streamlined game. It felt, I remember it feeling more modern than 2008. That's why I had to second guess that. But you're saying it's full of pay to win now?
Yeah, unfortunately, you can basically buy equipment shop currency. You can buy power, more or less at this point too.
All right,
it's a far cry from what it used to be.
I'm okay with C tier then, with asterisks on it saying that when it came out it was really great, but unfortunately not so much these days.
Yeah, just because it's kind of like a near and dear to game to me, I would have to give it a C.
Okay, I put it above the Quinfall.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Next up, it just says Fian, but this is Defiance, which is a game that I checked out earlier this year. It's based off of a TV show.
Yep.
And it was a really popular MMO, I think a few years ago, until this year it was revived. It's a first-person shooter MMO with this giant open world where you can like have thousands of other players online at the same time, and there's world events going on. It's actually a pretty big map for how many players you can have on it. So I loved this game when I played it. I don't know what it's going to look like moving forward because it was a revival of this older game. I don't know if they're going to keep pushing out updates and stuff, but like in terms of just general enjoyment, one of the best experiences I had in the past year. It's not a stereotypical MMO. It's a little bit different. The world would be smaller than something like a World of Warcraft, and then obviously being a shooter and not so much set in this fantasy environment. But yeah, did you play the game or the revival at all?
Yeah, I played the original launch, and then at some point I covered the 2050 version, and then I played the re-release by Fox Games last year. Yeah, I mean, it was like one of the first MMOs I played back in the day that had like these huge world events. It was kind of different at the time too because there wasn't many like shooter MMOs.
Yeah.
Or looter shooters rather.
Yeah.
So I mean, like for just because it was so different back in the day, it was a lot of fun. I could see why a lot of people got hooked onto this game because it did offer a completely different experience in the space.
No, that was my experience playing the re-release this year. I was like, what the heck? This is so cool. It was like Borderlands, almost like in an online way. Obviously, it's a lot different than Borderlands, but that's kind of what it felt like. Yeah, I saw they had the original Defiance, and then they had the re-release that was the 2050 version. I don't think they changed all that much, though, was my understanding.
Yeah, so the 2050 version, I think it was supposed to be like a little more streamlined. Certain systems were removed for a more player-friendly experience, but this re-release is supposed to be classic plus. So like they're going to re-implement some stuff from 2050, but this time a little bit better.
Yeah.
From what I understand, but like Fox Games, they're very, very small. So they've really been great. They've said like, this is realistic expectations. This is what we want to do with the game.
Yeah, they're good.
We still want to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, we still want to make money, but like this is the realistic expectations for you guys. Like, don't expect a ton.
I'm good with B tier somewhere.
Probably low B.
Low B? Yeah. I think I'm good with that. I really enjoyed the game. I think I'm going to go above Apogeia, below Albion, personally.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
All right. Next up, we have Dungeons and Dragons Online. Another Daybreak Games sort of exclusive. Well, not exclusive. The exact opposite of whatever exclusive is. But this game is, unfortunately for me, I love Dungeons and Dragons and I love the IP, but I just feel like we still haven't gotten the correct Dungeons and Dragons MMO. There's been a few attempts. Now, I do enjoy the game. I actually played it for the first time about 1.5 years ago, but it is a little bit too instanced for me. So I found that some of the constant going into instances kind of made it seem more like a hub-based game than an actual open world. So I don't know. It has its pros for sure, but unfortunately it is run by Daybreak Games, so it's pretty pay to win. A ton of content is locked behind a paywall. So what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. It's odd because like the whole idea of Dungeons and Dragons Online is supposed to be like this vast open adventure, and DDO is just not that. It's got the character creation and builds and theory crafting 100%.
I was going to say it stays a lot more true to what D&D is than something like a Neverwinter, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of character creation.
But yeah, it's cool in that way, but like their whole idea is like if you're playing DDO, imagine it like a pre-made campaign that you buy, like those books, and they're like condensed. So like you should view the adventure packs that you purchase as a condensed story. And it's like, but this is like an online experience. I want to have more.
Right. So yeah, I completely agree. That's basically the same vibes I got. I think it could be so much better too. And that's what bothers me. It's like you have such a vast IP when it comes to like Dungeons and Dragons, or you take a look at like Warhammer, that whole franchise. Why do we not have amazing MMOs in these spaces? So it's always a little bit of a disappointment in that regard. I think I would go high C tier, personally.
Yeah.
Although our C tier is getting super filled up.
Yeah. It's because like a lot of these MMOs are admittedly just
They
kind
are
of mid. Like,
yeah.
they're not super great, but they're not bad either.
Welcome to the MMO genre, right? So
yeah, and I mean, I would probably stick it around there too. When I played it, it just left me wanting more.
Yeah,
and that's the best way I can put it.
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna put it above Brighter Shores for me personally, but yeah, not great, unfortunately. All right, next up we have Dofus. Ignore the fact it says Dofus Touch. I think that was a logo from when they released their mobile version of the game. We don't have any of the other games, but you can kind of include them. There's Wakfu, I think it's called, and there's another one as well. I've played maybe 3 hours of Dofus. It's a turn-based combat system within an MMO. Very unique system. Very popular in France, which is their country of origin, is my understanding. But I think you covered some of these games more recently than me. What do you think about Dofus?
So I probably hold the monocle of being able to say that I've covered all of them. I'm one of the few content creators that has.
Yeah.
The best way I can describe Dofus is like, it's the MMO. It's an OG MMO that never gets brought up in conversation because odds are you've never met anyone who's played it.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it.
But like, it absolutely deserves to be up there.
Yeah.
But like, that's the struggle, is like, most likely you could meet someone in France who will sing the praises of Dofus all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like, there's conventions for this MMO. It's that popular over there. This is France's World of Warcraft. It's that popular.
Yeah.
It just never caught fire over here.
It's kind of like with RuneScape, for example. It's from the UK, so like you might walk around and talk to other gamers in the US or in a other Western country, and most of them might know RuneScape a little bit, but if you go to the UK, like everyone there knows what RuneScape is.
Yep.
So it's pretty much that, but for France. I don't have enough information about the game, to be honest. It has like some pretty cool crafting systems from my understanding, or one of them does. The turn-based combat looks super unique. Basically nobody else has done that and had it been this successful in the MMO space. What do you think about the mobile versions that have been released recently? Are they staying true to their roots? Or are they going a bit more pay to win with that?
It's a mobile MMO that doesn't like incorporate idle stuff.
Okay.
Which is actually nice. It actually plays just like proper Dofus. My problem with it is it's not the actual MMO, so it's like its own server, its own thing.
Oh, interesting.
I think most of us would agree, like, I would rather just take it on the go.
Right.
You know, the PC version on the go is a great way to just increase your player base versus having it be its own separate, completely different thing. Yeah, I mean, like the fact that it's got a tactical turn-based system.
Yeah.
Is like it kind of proved that you could put a spin on an MMO in a completely different way than you thought would probably be possible. So like most MMOs at the time just have either like an action combat system or it's tab target, and that's kind of about it. Dofus was probably one of the first MMOs that proved that you could do something weird like a turn-based combat system and actually have a community.
And I think in the MMO space more than any other space, well, maybe not more than any other space, but there is a huge issue with, just copying what works. We saw hundreds of World of Warcraft direct clones be made. There's even games out there that have the exact same graphics and the same, like, everyone wants to copy what works. So in a niche where that can be a rather risky play to try and do something different, they still did it. So I'm going to defer to your expertise, but I have a feeling this is going maybe high B tier.
I would say it's influential. Like when I look at it, I would have to argue it is influential. Like a lot of the older MMOs, like I said, it's kind of one of the first MMOs that kind of proved that you could do something more than tab target or action combat and have it work.
Yeah.
I'm
willing to hear you out. Okay. If you want to say A, I'm willing to hear you out on it. It feels like you're pushing for that.
The thing that I said in like my video for it though is like, not everyone's going to like turn-based combat. Not everyone's going to like the tactical combat. Cause like, it's like, think of Final Fantasy. You get into a fight, the fight might last like 1 to 2 minutes, right? Versus like in World of Warcraft, you kill a boar in like 30 seconds.
Right.
So like there's a lot faster of that, like, feedback that is easily replicatable versus Dofus. You might go into a fight and then like 5-10 minutes later,
the
done.
pacing is going to be totally different than what
Yep.
you might be looking for in an MMO.
Yep.
Okay, so we're saying high B then?
Yeah, I would say high B.
All right, cool. All right, next up, we have the Quinfall 2. No, I'm just kidding. This is Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. For me, this was a game that I covered earlier last year as well. I think I covered it within a few weeks of the Quinfall, which is why I probably relate those two in my mind. Pantheon had some really bad press last year, but now I guess they're doing a fresh start, and it seems like a lot of people are really excited about the game again. This was a game that always had a ton of potential. It's been in development for a very long time. I think it's like mostly funded by players and stuff. So you probably know a little bit more of the history than I do, but what do you think about Pantheon?
I want to say that they do have some external funding. So it's a bit of a mix of a Kickstarter MMO and actually securing funds from a company.
Okay, gotcha.
But I think they've been able to retain most of their vision versus like having the corporation kind of interfere too much.
Right.
In terms of like the game itself, I would say it's probably the closest MMO experience out of a lot of these indies that feels like World of Warcraft. The way it plays, the way it's presented, the way movement feels, it's all snappy. None of it feels janky. None of it feels floaty. It just feels right. And they've nailed that. And a lot of any indie MMOs are still trying to get that feeling.
Interesting. I feel like I had a bit of a different experience. But I guess if you're talking about just the feel of the game, like the feel of combat, I think that was okay, but it didn't really stand out to me from what I remember. What I found with Pantheon was it was kind of like I'd put it in the same category as a Monsters and Memories or even what's another one? Embers Adrift. That would be another one where it's like this. It's trying to be an older MMO, but in a modern time. So I don't know if Pantheon ever gave me World of Warcraft vibes. I'd have to go back and think about that. It was
the way I
go ahead.
Say it for that is because like Monsters and Memories and Embers Adrift, combat feels floaty. It feels very, very slow. And they do that by design, right? Because like old school EverQuest was slow. But Pantheon, there's a run button. You can climb walls.
Right, you can climb walls.
It doesn't take like a second for your character to do the animation. It will do it immediately. Right. When you attack immediately. It's not this, like, it almost feels like you're swimming through molasses when you play some of these indie MMOs. And Pantheon to me did not feel that way.
I completely forgot too about the climbing walls. You're right. So the game is a lot more mobile in that sense. Like actual character movement is a lot more mobile than some of these other games.
Yeah.
Do you know exactly why this is gaining a resurgence again now? Because there was a time, I want to say like 4 months ago even, where pretty much everyone thought that Pantheon was completely dead. What changed from then to now? Do you know?
So when they first released, they basically promised that the game was going to be wiped. So it was released as early access. A lot of people were so excited though that they didn't care. They jumped in. Right. So it had that like population of like 3,000 to 4,000 players. And then as the months went on, people put a ton of time into it. And then they realized like, oh, like, I've sunk 300 to 400 hours into this game.
It's gonna wipe.
Like I'm gonna get wiped.
Gotcha.
So they stopped playing.
Gotcha.
And I'm assuming, I haven't like paid too much attention to its recent news, but I'm assuming that if players are coming back to it, either they're starting to release more engaging content that players have been waiting for a long time. Yeah. Or they're getting closer to a full release at this point to where they're willing to jump back in.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, when I played the game, I remember at the very end of my review, I stated how I got to like, I don't know, level 10 or something. I can't remember. I played for a little while, and most of the content I was able to do solo up until a point. And then I needed to find a group, and there was literally nobody online who was actively doing that quest that I needed. I think I had to kill like these rangers at a farm That might sound familiar, but I needed a group. It was like completely, you were not able to do this solo, which was fine. But I waited around for half an hour. I tried asking a few people that had ran by and stuff like that. Nobody wanted to join me. And at that point, I think I was just kind of like, okay, I was done with the game. But I can understand, especially if you play it with a bunch of other active people at the same time, that it could be pretty good. I think you've changed my mind about the character mobility, because I think I probably played it and immediately thought, oh, it's trying to be like an old MMO. So I might not have paid enough attention to the combat and how that actually felt in the moment. But where are you thinking for this one?
I would have to say low B.
Low B. That's where I was going to say too.
It's probably got some of the most promise out of the indies. A lot of these other indies, they're sticking to their niche, but Pantheon just feels like a good mix of modern and retro.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that spot for it. And we'll see in the future. Like I said, a ton of people are telling me to go back to it. So who knows? It could end up being a pretty big player. But all right, next up we have Dune Awakening. This was obviously from the book series and the movies Dune. They made an adaptation to an MMO. Well, they called it an MMO when it first came out, and then they changed it to not an MMO a little bit down the road. I played Dune last year. I really enjoyed it, but it's definitely one of those games like we talked about earlier where it's more of a survival game than it is actually an MMO. It's more of a survival sandbox kind of crafting game. It does have a storyline attached to it, which is pretty fun to play through, and the graphics are great. But the end game sort of leads you into this sort of PvP environment that, you're fighting in different ships and stuff like that. Overall, like scope-wise, I think it was an awesome game. But for some reason, I have never felt even the slightest inkling of wanting to go back to it.
Yeah, for me, I felt the same exact way. It didn't hook me in the same way an MMO would, and that's probably just because of its survival roots.
Yeah.
When it was first marketed, they first marketed it as an MMO, and then they pivoted, probably because a lot of the same reasons we brought up a couple times in the live stream already, where the MMO genre is just not marketable right now. So I felt the same way, where like I played it for a while, thought it was okay, had some cool systems, cool ideas, logged out, haven't logged back in since.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm okay with C tier for this one. Probably below DC Universe.
I think it's unfortunately going to end up a lot like their other Fungom titles, where they'll release all the DLC that's planned for it and then just leave it up for players to play as much as they want, but we'll never update it again.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, next up, we have one. We kind of just talked about it with Pantheon, because it is, in my opinion, related. But this is Embers Adrift. I'm going to be completely honest. I tried to play this game about 4 different times, and I just couldn't due to the lack of players. This is a game that very heavily focuses on group play. So I was able to play solo for the first, literally 4 levels of the game. And after that point, it almost becomes required for you to play in a group. At least that was my experience. Now, that's fine if there's other people online. At the time I was playing, there wasn't. There was literally maybe 6 other people online. So for me, I did not have a good experience with this game at all.
I kind of bleed for this game.
Okay.
I got to around level 20 and had a blast with it, but it definitely suffers from everything you're saying. It has the unfortunate requirement of it is an old school game, therefore it is going to capture a niche audience. It is made for group play. There is almost no solo play. They have started to implement some content that is solo friendly, but it is through and through a classic retro MMO where you are meant to be with a group at almost all times. It doesn't help the fact that it has a lot of the issues that I brought up with a lot of these indie MMOs. Combat's very slow. It's very floaty. Movement feels floaty, like you're just wading through water. It's got all of those things against it, but man, I can't help but keep an eye on it. I want to like it more than I do. I want to see cooler systems for it. The developers have stuck with it despite its low population. They're truly giving it a shot because they're passionate. I can
vouch for that. I think the developers reached out to me a year, maybe it was almost 2 years ago at this point, asking me just advice on the game. And I was like, I haven't actually played it yet, but the fact that they're reaching out, just asking for advice, I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, it seems like they are totally listening and wanting the best for the product. I just, I unfortunately didn't have the greatest experience. And it was, I do remember it being a little bit glitchy too. I think I fell through the world at one point. That was a common bug that people were experiencing, which is whatever, that happens in plenty of games. But yeah, I do you actually see, like, genuinely, do you think you see this game really going anywhere?
I think if it's left to cook for like a couple more years, and they actually release some significant changes that would make people want to log in. Some of the biggest problems with its gameplay loop is just there's nothing else to really do besides level. And if you're not in love with the leveling experience, there's going to be nothing tying you to the game.
Gotcha.
They need more stuff to do. And because of, like, everything against it, I couldn't rate it anywhere higher than a low C.
Yeah.
Which pains me to say, because like I said, the developers, they're cool people.
I agree with
really passionate about their game.
Yeah.
But it's just not catching on, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with low C. I think that's a fair spot for it. I want to see it do well. Actually, I like the world they've created. The way it looks. Even the world is rubbing people the wrong way. People want magic, and they're like, well, this is supposed to be a low fantasy game. There is no magic. Yeah, it's always tough the second you step away from high fantasy in the MMO genre at all. There's always going to be people against that, but yeah. All right, we are on to probably the best MMO to ever exist. We're gonna play it until we're dead. Nobody's ever gonna be able to beat this MMO. Ashes of Creation. Imagine if there was some recent news or something that happened that maybe would take this away from its S tier, deservedly S tier position. But yeah, I don't think there has been, so.
Probably going to get eaten alive for it because I didn't play it.
Dude, I didn't play it until I heard it was getting canceled.
It's the same thing of, like, early access, it's going to get wiped. I'm not going to sink a bunch of time into it. Which sounds like that was the correct option.
So I'll be completely honest. The only reason I didn't cover Ashes is because if you take a look at YouTube, there were, like, dedicated creators for Ashes. And so there are people who had every news post, every stream, they were covering every topic. And I was like, I can't just jump into this, like, 3 years too late. Like, I'm just missing so much context, and so I was like, I'm just going to wait until it releases. Yeah. I guess that was the good move, the worst move. I don't know.
Yeah, because I didn't spend a dime on it, so
so I spent
losing money.
I spent $50 to get the early access or whatever, and then luckily, a couple days after I spent the $50, the news came out, and because I hadn't actually played a full 2 hours, I was able to refund it. So
there you go. Yeah.
So I didn't technically spend a dime either. Yeah. I think there's no other place that this goes other than D tier due to the news. Now, the actual game itself had a bunch of cool ideas, and I guess the parts that were playable were pretty good. The problem is they promised so many things that never even made it into the game. And so even the early access version, like, people were like, hey, this is not what you've been showing us in the live streams. Like, why isn't this working? Why doesn't this function? So
unfortunately, because I didn't play it, I can't comment too much about it besides, like, footage I've seen. But like, in terms of quality of what I saw, I mean, it looked like a high budget MMO. There was definitely money thrown at this game. Where the rest of it went, who knows? But, like,
there was money.
Combat looked snappy. The world looked vast. There was an engaging combat loop that was at least trying to get some, groundwork started, but ultimately where it went is nowhere.
I don't know if you saw many other creators play the game, and there was good stuff about it. But apparently the live streams that they were doing were, like, super hyper produced, and they were in non-playable parts of the game or versions of the game that were done in, like, test servers that had different things that were added specifically to make the live stream look better. But I don't know if all of that is true, but that's been what I've heard from some ex-employees that apparently have been interviewed and stuff like that. So yeah, interesting situation. Unfortunate, because I really thought that it was going to be there for the long run. I had high hopes for it, but yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, Kira had been kind of warning a lot of the community that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
But we're so starved for anything good, a lot of us just chose to ignore it. And I mean, I don't blame people for wanting to give it a shot. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would agree, D.
All right. Next up, we have The Elder Scrolls Online. I'm personally a little bit biased when it comes to this game. I really enjoy horizontal progression. And so with Elder Scrolls and Guild Wars 2, I think those are the two best MMOs for horizontal progression. Furthermore, I went to Amsterdam to go participate in their 10-year anniversary when that happened. And it was just such a cool event and experience that they put on. I even proposed to my girlfriend at that event. So I can fully admit I'm a little bit biased with ESO. It's one of my favorite MMOs. But from an objective opinion, I think I can say, like, it's definitely costs too much money if you want everything in the game. The whole crafting bag, which I think is a requirement to play the game, that comes with ESO Plus, which is a subscription within the game. And then on top of that, the combat is not the best combat in the MMO genre. I think we can all admit that. So I understand the pitfalls with it. I think I just really like the world. I'm a big fan of the Elder Scrolls in general. So I understand I'm biased, but what do you think?
So, I mean, I'm a beta tester, so I have the monkey pet. I was stoked for this game when it was coming out because I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan. So I have the Molag Bull statue somewhere around here.
Yeah.
When this game was coming out, I thought it was going to be huge.
I mean, the expectations the expectations on release were like huge. And then it was bad on release, right?
It was. I remember it being okay. It definitely had a pretty good population, but a lot of people were like, "Okay, where's console?" Because it was promised to have console release at the same time simultaneously.
Yeah.
And then it got delayed by I think like a year. But Elder Scrolls Online for me, I don't know. The way I seen it is, I think it's the most good, fair MMO that I don't blame anyone for playing at least sometime in their career with MMOs. Like and I don't blame anyone for sticking to it either. The game has so much to do in it. You could spend months in the game and still find stuff to do.
Yeah.
One hot take from me is I have never found the issue with combat. But that's probably because the way I look at combat is, so like Elder Scrolls Online to me just seems like I'm clicking, and even though it's slow and floaty, it's not much different than watching my character in World of Warcraft do the same attack animations at the same speed.
I completely agree. And I even said that I covered Elder Scrolls again this year. The only thing I found with it is that because of the 2-bar system, it's extremely click heavy. So you're constantly, and you're using, it's called light weave attacking. So you're constantly weaving attacks.
Your animation canceling, dodge canceling. So there's a lot more depth into it than people think.
But like literally, it's the only MMO I'll play where afterwards I'm just like, my hands are literally sore. You know what I mean? Like if I'm trying to do top DPS, my hands are sore after.
Well, I guess guess as a DC Universe Online player, it's the same thing there. Your animation canceling, your jump canceling. There's a lot more to the combat if you know it. You just have to play it enough to know it. So, and I mean, like Cyrodiil was freaking awesome at launch. It was taken straight from Dark Age of Camelot. So like I loved it when I played it. Do I play it now? No, though. It requires so much time.
So I think for me, it actually would have been A tier before. But the recent changes they've made to the game, I didn't love. So I don't know if you heard about it, but they basically made, I forget the name for it, but they made it so you can pick any skill line from any class. And you can like mix and match all the skill lines now. So like everyone is just running these like 3 meta skill lines. And like nobody else is playing anything else. And there's no class identity. And that kind of like took a lot out of it for me. I don't know why. When I first experimented with the system, I was like, this is cool. But now if you go into PvP, it's like everyone is using the exact same 3 skill lines. So you see those necro beams, they're like these giant green beams, and everyone's just shooting them all over the place. It's like, I don't know, it kind of turned everyone into the same character, homogenized everyone. So I don't really love that. So I'd actually be okay with like low B, high C. somewhere in there.
I like low B.
Sure.
Be in a couple balance patches and it'll be in a better spot anyways. So
I'm going to go between Black Desert and Pantheon. Like, is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys mind if I take a quick restroom break? I'll just be like 30 seconds. But the next game coming up is mostly your game that you had recently covered on your channel, I think, Etterspire. Yep. So if you want to talk about that, I'll be right back.
Sure. So Etterspire is just basically a lot of like my generation's perfect free to play MMO. It's got a mix of like cutesy stuff. It's like anime inspired. It's free to play. It's got a very cash shop friendly approach to monetization. There's no pay to win, but unfortunately, like it just kind of gets boring after some time where all you're really doing is you're just leveling up. There's like no deep profession system besides fishing. Fishing, just all you're doing though is you're fishing. You can't do anything with the fish besides sell the fish. There's like no class customization. There's not a ton to it. So that's kind of the best way to describe Etterspire. I guess when Waydot gets back, I'll probably have to re-explain that. But I mean, those
you're
in
totally
my
good.
chat,
I heard you. I kept the headphones on. I got the Razer Kraken, they're wireless, so I'll walk around the house just listening to stuff. But no, I got most of that.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just like anytime I see a game like Etterspire, I never have high hopes for it because it's kind of like this more anime kind of cartoon style. That's just not my personal taste. But yeah, where would you rank there? Where would you rank it overall?
So in terms of gameplay, I really couldn't rate it higher than a high C.
Okay.
But I mean, the game itself has kind of been proving to be another success as an indie level studio. Like I was talking to you about before the stream, like they've got like a steady 3,000 players playing this game,
which is no joke in the MMO space, especially for an indie game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like that's a decent community with having like very little advertising and in name alone. Like, yeah. And that's because that you can play it on mobile. You can play it on your PC or mobile.
Right. How is the mobile
progress
version?
Is saved there. It's okay. I wouldn't say like it controls great, but like for how
compared to like
it is
OSRS mobile.
OSRS mobile is better, but
okay.
The way it plays, you don't need anything like crazy. Like you just
right.
You got the touch movement, you press a couple buttons to attack, you're good to go.
All right, so high C then, you think?
Yeah, I would say high C.
Okay, sounds good. All right, next one. I don't know if this is one that you've heard about. This was Ethereal Echoes of Yore, which is really interesting because I used to have a series on my channel called Dead MMOs, where I would just go and play these super like dead or really low ranked games that I found on Steam. And Ethereal Echoes of Yore was actually one of those. And it was awful at the time that I played the game. It wasn't the worst game. I saw the vision a little bit. But then what ended up happening is I guess the people who were making the game ended up like selling the rights to some guy who's just turned it into a complete passion project. And he's basically using RuneScape as an inspiration to make this sort of, it's kind of got like Minecraft-esque graphics mixed with a bit of RuneScape, and it's like a top-down game. So apparently it's like doing much better now, and he has this whole list of plans that he has for the game, and it all sounds really good. So I am actually pretty optimistic about this game's future.
So this one for me, I've covered it too.
Yeah.
The guy who bought the project was actually just a player who fell in love with the project and just saw something in it and wanted to keep it going.
Interesting.
So he purchased the project, and he's definitely turned it all the way around. Like it's a mix of a lot of games. So it's got the inspiration of RuneScape, but it has evolved into something even further. So like it's got RuneScape based skilling, but it takes inspiration from Final Fantasy XI and 14, where you can get all the classes within the game and they all level separately.
Yeah.
I think he said he's wanted to do stuff like class unlock quests to where you have to earn them all. There is progression for if you level up all the quests.
Yep.
He's made it to where it's not click to move anymore. It's now WASD. I think he's also even moved it from top down to over the shoulder.
Oh, really?
I'm not entirely sure how true that is. I know he's recently replaced a lot of the character models. Like, this is going somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably further than I think any of us thought it would ever go, but like there is some promise all of a sudden with it.
Dude, I've whenever you hear about someone who's just like a fan of the game who ends up taking over, it's kind of the same reason that we see private servers usually end up doing so well for these games, is because it's just like a passion project. It's just made out of complete love for the game instead of, you know, trying to always get those numbers up. So yeah, I mean, I have high hopes for the game. I need to see about this over the shoulder stuff if that's true. That sounds really cool. But yeah, Ethereal Echoes of Yore is the name. Now, we can't just rate it based on potential alone. However, I'd be happy to put it into a B tier, especially with all those changes you just listed. And like, you guys should go take a look at the game. Its graphical style is very kind of compelling. It's there's something about it. The second you log in, you're kind of just like, okay, I want to explore this world.
Plus, it's completely free to play. You no longer have to buy it.
That's right. I completely forgot about that. It used to be buy to play.
Used to be buy to play with a subscription.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely better as a free to play.
Quickly got changed. Yep.
All right, I'm okay with B tier for it. I think middle B, to be honest, just because the potential's really, really there, I think. So.
Yeah, I think they're starting to really ramp up things. They've been recently releasing a lot of cool stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I'll probably check it out again this year for sure. All right, next up, we have one that I've not covered on my channel, but I have played with the intention of covering on my channel, and I decided not to because it's just not for me. With that being said, EVE Online is one of the most respected MMOs of all time. They've done amazing things in the space, especially in terms of PvP. There's some of the coolest like stories out there about this game where people have lost what would be considered like tens of thousands of dollars of real life money in these insane PvP battles if you had transferred like the cost of the actual in-game items. It might be way more than tens of thousands. I think it might be. But that's kind of what I know about EVE. It's not my kind of game. I found it to be overly complex in a lot of ways. I found it to be more of a spreadsheet sort of focused game. It's very min-maxed, especially at the top level. And it's just not for me personally. But that doesn't mean I take away from the game because of that. But have you played much EVE? Is that your kind of game?
I've never played EVE, but I had a friend in high school that played this like it was his religion.
Yeah. I think most of the long-term players,
yeah.
It becomes a religious sort of thing. Like you log in every day and it's, constantly paying attention to it.
Yeah, it is probably one of the most brutal experiences out there though. Like, just because of like how you said, like you could spend thousands of hours building up a ship, getting enough money, getting enough credits, all this stuff, and then lost in an instant because someone kills you.
Yeah.
It is Albion Online dialed up to 1,000 because EVE predates Albion Online, and Albion Online takes a lot of its cues from EVE. This one would be hard for me to rate just because it's a game I would probably never touch.
It's so like I said, I tried, right? And they even have like this new player tutorial that is meant to introduce you to the game, and you do a bit of mining and you kind of understand some of the systems, but it really is just such a different experience compared to anything else in the MMO space. Like, yeah, it's PvP focused, but it's like it's literally spaceship PvP where you're controlling, you know, potentially leading armies of people. It's just a very different experience to your typical MMO. And so a lot of MMO creators shy away from actually reviewing it, and it turns out I'm one of those. I tried. But that's not because I don't have respect for the game or I don't love it for what it is, or that other people love it for what it is. So my ranking, like I would personally put it in something like C tier, but I know that's going to make everyone mad. And I know that people who have actually put the time into the game would probably put it in an S tier. So
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those MMOs where it's like if you've never played it, you don't understand it. But if you have played it, you probably have a dozen and one stories for it
Right.
that are just amazing. But because of the time dedication it requires, it is so hard for people who are just not dedicated to the game to really understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the new player experience, like even with the new tutorial, it's not necessarily intuitive. You're not going to pick up on everything you need to pick up on this game within even the first week. Like it's going to take longer than that. Where I don't know, where are you thinking of putting this?
I would have to say like high C. It is definitely it's an MMO that unfortunately like I think the players know this, even if they are diehard fans, that they could try to convince their friends to play it for weeks, and their friends are just never going to touch it. It's just one of those games.
I agree. I agree with high C. How many more we got left here? Okay, we're on to the last few rows here. Try and pick it up a little bit. We are running a little bit long. But next up, we have Warhammer Online. And now this game doesn't exist in its official state anymore. The only way to play this game is on private servers, but it was one of the most beloved MMOs, especially when it came out. I actually played this game when it first came out. I think the first week it actually released, and I really enjoyed it. But it's a PvP-focused MMO with the Warhammer IP behind it. Did you play much of this one at all?
Unfortunately, I never played it at launch. I didn't even know it existed. I played Return of Reckoning, and it's some of the best PvP I've just had fun with. Like, it's just fun going around killing the opposite faction.
Yeah.
I love it. I thought it was awesome.
Okay, we might be more aligned here than I thought, because this was going to be my next A tier.
Yeah, I would put it in A tier as well. I think unfortunately it stumbles in mid game though, to where you during the early I think it's 15 levels when you're tier 0 or tier 1, it is so much fun, and then you hit tier 2, and
slows down a bit.
Well, you have to get leeched basically the whole way through, which feels bad. But once you're in a siege party, oh my goodness, it's so much fun.
It's interesting because I actually have, and I don't know if that's specific to Return of Reckoning, which is the private server, but I have more experience playing this game on its actual release than I do these days. I haven't actually played much of the private server. Now, when this game was released, as far as I can remember, because me and my dad, we played the heck out of this game. But there was I don't think there was much of a grind even when it first came out. It was it got you right into PvP almost immediately.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the disconnect here is okay, so this is an MMO that focuses on PvP. You can level up in PvP. You actually get punished for doing any sort of PvE because you get left behind in your realm rank.
Right.
So it just has this massive disconnect where the game plops you into a PvE area, and then you're just kind of told by the player basically, yeah, don't do quests. You want to stay as low level as possible.
Right.
Go straight into the battlefields. Don't touch anything PvE.
And it's
I
do remember
well,
that.
Wait a minute. So it's why didn't they just make it to where there's no questing or anything like that? Just have it all PvP. Or they should have just changed the system to where you're not punished for PvE.
Yeah.
But that's just unfortunately how the game works.
Personally, my favorite part of the game was the class design and the amount of classes that were available. They had engineer, I believe was one of them. You had witch hunter, and just these really unique classes that you didn't always see in other MMOs at the time. And they all had their very niche roles in PvP where they could shine. Each class has its own way to really outperform or even counter another class in PvP. Something we hadn't really seen too much of in the MMO space. So yeah, for me, it's an A tier, but I do need to go back and play it, the private server now, because it's a really popular private server. Out of all the private servers for older games, that's one of the most popular and famous ones, right?
Yeah, I think they must have some sort of blessing or something with Games Workshop because they're allowed to do Twitch drops.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They occasionally have Twitch drops, which
they must have some
insane
kind of
for a private server. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm okay with A tier for Warhammer Online. And I mean, it really did set the tone for a lot of further PvP and MMOs that came after it too.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we're touching on our Final Fantasies, both of them, starting with the older version, Final Fantasy XI, which you can play on the official servers or private servers, to my understanding.
Yep.
I have not played much Final Fantasy XI. I actually did play this game when it actually first came out a long time ago. I remember being like in the starting area, and there was just like these birds, and you would fight them or something. That's all I remember. I was very little. But I haven't played the private servers. I've heard it's a very group focused game, a lot of group heavy content, but it's like beloved. Like people who love Final Fantasy XI love this game. So what do you think?
I have a lot of experience with Final Fantasy XI, especially recently. Like I still play it every now and then.
Yeah.
It is a very different game if you play retail. Retail is not as solo heavy anymore. You can summon allies, so you don't have to get real players to help you anymore. The private servers are more geared to the classic age where you pass level 10, you absolutely have to be in a party. Even like level 10 enemies who are your level will nearly one-shot you because the game is geared to be group focused.
So how easy is it to find a party? Let's say you just got to level 10 in one of these private servers. Are there enough other players that are level 10 that you can actually make that happen?
Yes, because the way that the game works is every job has its own progression. So let's say you just hit level 10. There is always going to be another player that is able to go help you because they could just swap to another job that they're working on.
That's
so
cool.
Therefore, because I think there's like in 75 era, there's like 18 jobs. There's technically 18 characters that one character is able to play early game with at all times.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, where are you putting it on the rating list? And will you be rating it higher than the modern version? That's going to be the real question here.
I actually don't mind retail because a lot of like the 75 era glazers will say that modern era is too easy.
Yeah.
Modern era is just as grindy and difficult. You just have to get to end game.
Right.
Which is also a difficult grind because you got to get to level 99, then you got to grind out your capacity points, then you got to grind out your job levels, then you got to grind out your master levels, then you can do stuff like ambuscade and stuff like that.
Well, and I mean, we've seen that sort of companion system in other games too, like EverQuest. They have companions that you can get to fight alongside you. Tons of these older games have that now, and to me that solves the grouping issue in a lot of scenarios. So I actually view that as just a positive most of the time. But
yeah, I would have to say Final Fantasy XI is
A tier, another.
Yep.
I think I'm okay with that. I haven't played it enough to know, but like I said, the people who enjoy this game love this game. So
once you see the magic of it, like it takes a little bit because it's so aged. Like the Play Online installer alone will turn off 90% of the people who are potentially on the fence about it.
But Final Fantasy XIV still has those issues. Like it's a tough game to actually download. So.
And it's just because it's Japanese.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say A tier.
Okay, cool. Speaking of Final Fantasy XIV, how much experience do you have in FF14?
I played launch. I played 1.0.
Yep.
I'm actually a 1.0 lover, actually.
What?
Versus modern. Yeah. Because I came from 11 first.
Right.
If you played 11 first, odds are you actually liked 1.0.
Right. So here's my experience with Final Fantasy XIV. I am a Final Fantasy X enjoyer. My favorite video game of all time is Final Fantasy X. Turn-based, old school, on my PlayStation 2. But when I'm playing an MMO, the last thing I actually care about most of the time is the story. I like loot. I like systems. I like leveling up. I like progression. And at least for me, Final Fantasy XIV is too, it's story heavy, but it's mostly because it has too many unskippable cutscenes. And so I played through the entirety of A Realm Reborn, which I've heard is the most boring part of the game. I haven't played much past that. And I mean, it took 80 hours, or maybe it was 60 to 80 hours to play through this entire first part of the storyline. And it didn't click for me. With that being said, I love the amount of cross account progression. So everything is saved on one character. I think that's a great system. I've taken a look at their end game rating. Looks like an awesome system. The PvP kind of lacking. They don't do too much with PvP, but I feel like a lot of people would put this in S tier, and I'm just personally not ready to say that Final Fantasy XIV is an S tier.
For me, 14 is at best A tier. I don't think it could go any lower than that just because of how popular it is. It does so many things right, but it also does a lot of things wrong.
Yeah.
So for me, as someone who came from the early days of MMOs, I don't want to be told what my story is. I don't care that I'm the chosen one. I want to be able to tell what my story is. I'm coming from RuneScape where when I spawn into Lumbridge, I'm not told where to go. I go wherever I want.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy XIV is not like that. You have to do the main story quest before you can do anything that's actually really any fun.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but people will swear up and down that they love the game's story, and it is probably the modern MMO that does a story in a way that has captured an audience, because most MMO stories suck.
Yeah.
Or it's just all in text and nobody cares.
Well, I think that's the thing. It's like I don't know. Star Wars The Old Republic had tons of cutscenes and voice acted and everything too. It's mostly a story game, but for some reason the Final Fantasy storytelling, which I mean Square Enix has amazing storytelling. They always have. And I haven't gone past A Realm Reborn, like I said, so maybe it does get much better. But even after playing through the entirety of A Realm Reborn, it's like I don't know. It just
whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. It was interesting. It was cool to see, but I didn't get extremely attached to any of the characters.
Final Fantasy XI has better stories, in my opinion.
Really?
It's all still text based, so you have to read what's going on. But like 11 has more stakes in terms of its characters. 14, I think you have to get to Shadow Walkers before you really start to see that. But I mean, in terms of like 1.0, just to give you some context, the reason why I liked 1.0 over the modern day iteration is because 1.0 has a lot of the stuff that I was looking for in how I wish the game played now. So there was a little more customization in how your jobs were, things were difficult.
But I mean, ultimately, it
didn't gel with it didn't gel with a mass audience.
Right.
And it's because they modeled 1.014 to be an evolution of 11.
Right.
During its difficulty era. So
all right,
it was tough.
Are you okay with below Final Fantasy XI in A tier, or do you want to put it a tier below? Because for me, I have no attachment to Final Fantasy XIV. I actually think out of the top like 5 best, like most popular MMOs right now, I think it's a little bit overrated. I've always thought this, but where do you think you want to put it?
I could put it above 11 just because it is easier to recommend 14 over 11 nowadays.
Yeah, 11's pretty dated at this point.
Absolutely. Although 11 has been getting a huge resurgence. It's actually starting to see like new content for the first time in years. Yeah, they just released a new system. So I'm excited for 11, but 14, I think I can easily put over 11 just because it's modern, it's easier to get into, and it has definitely captured a massive audience. It deserves to be there.
Well, and from what I've seen, the rating and the end game content within the game is like phenomenal. And the way they do boss encounters with like the intense music and these crazy mechanics, it looks really compelling once you actually get to that point. The problem is you have to go through 500 hours of story to get to that point.
Yeah, and that's always going to be an issue for me.
Yeah. All right. We got to move this along. We're taking way too long. We are on to Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars, which is not technically an MMO. It's more of a hub-based game as well. However, I will say that when this game originally came out, if you were playing an RPG, like a fantasy RPG, and there were other people online beside you, everyone just defaulted that to MMO back then. Like back when this game came out, everyone called it an MMO, even though nowadays we don't. Obviously, it just had the revival. They created Guild Wars Reforged, which didn't change too much about the game, and they've made some of it just more accessible. A little bit of graphical changes, but pretty minimal. I love this game. I just did another video on it recently, where I think it's called the Legendary Defender of Ascalon title, where you get to level 20 within the pre-searing tutorial. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, what do you think about the OG Guild Wars?
OG Guild Wars, yeah, it's the best single player multiplayer game you'll ever play.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It definitely did a lot of things different in its day. But yeah, I mean, nowadays it's hard to argue if it's an MMO. It's not really an MMO by our standards now.
Well, and I mean like that the gameplay loop is essentially you get your character and you learn all their abilities and you get these things called henchmen, which will act as your party members. And you'll control up to 8 of them at a time. And it's more like a real-time strategy kind of experience than like your typical MMO experience, because you're kind of like controlling all these characters, like if you're actually pushing some of the other content in the game.
Yeah. I like what it does, though. There's a lot of like interesting stories, a lot of cool gameplay features and systems that was brought up. Tons of horizontal progression.
Yeah.
Is horizontal progression the MMO?
Yeah.
It's super cool. But I would say like probably A.
I'm going A, personally. But a little bit of bias. I love Guild Wars. But I think I would go A tier. Is it above? It's above Final Fantasy for me personally, but you could put it wherever you would like on that list.
For me, I'd probably put it below 11 and 14.
Okay. Fair. All right. Next up, Guild Wars 2, the sequel to Guild Wars. Obviously, it's a I'd say it's top 5 MMO right now, Guild Wars 2, in terms of popularity. I'm not 100% sure on the player numbers, but this is what I actually call horizontal progression in the game, because the amount of horizontal progression in Guild Wars 2, I think, exceeds any other MMO in existence. I'm pretty sure, with the Legendary Collection system. But I don't know how much time you've put into Guild Wars 2. I think I have almost 1,000 hours at this point. I'm a huge fan of the game. What are your thoughts?
I played it a couple years ago and got a max level engineer on a Char, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I understand the horizontal progression thing. It kind of felt like I was doing a large collectathon. Like, oh, I got to do this whole area's quest line so I can get all these achievements and all these titles and all this cool stuff.
Absolutely. That's what the game is. It's like collection log the game. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I love that. I don't know what happened.
I like that too. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just like for me, it just felt odd coming from like other MMOs that it was basically just a huge collectathon, but it wasn't bad. It's fun.
Now, I would like to shout out Rose MMO is in my chat, and he actually just got his ArenaNet account banned alongside his Twitch account for making some disparaging jokes, we'll say the least, towards ArenaNet while playing Guild Wars 2. That actually did lower my opinion of them slightly. I thought that was a bit of an over punishment regarding that scenario. But yeah, I love Guild Wars 2. For me, it would be an S tier game. Where would it be for you?
Because I just didn't put enough time into it. Like I said, I got a max level character, had fun with it, but I didn't experience any of the end game. I couldn't really go any higher than an A. But like I said, I think it's popular for a reason. I definitely saw why it's fun. When
people talk about the end game in Guild Wars 2, it literally just is the collection system. It's kind of just like you pick a legendary or something you want to go for, and then you just go for that. But I also love the world versus world PvP. I don't know if you've ever participated in that. It's basically Cyrodiil in Elder Scrolls. I think a little bit more fleshed out though. But yeah, for me it's an S tier. For you, it maybe high A tier.
Yeah, high A for sure.
All right. I think that's a good middle ground for us then. All right, next up we have Bella Torres. This is what I like to call Chrono Odyssey 2. It's another Korean MMO that we had some amazing trailers on, which just makes me a little bit more, I guess, pessimistic about its potential release. However, some people have played it now. I think some people got hands-on, and it doesn't actually look too bad. The user interface reminded me more of Ashes of Creation than Chrono Odyssey. But I don't know what to expect with the game. Have you looked into it at all?
I've only seen like a trailer, and even then I haven't like watched the full trailer. I know nothing about this game. It's very much similar to ArchAge Chronicles, where I guess it's coming.
Yeah. And I'm actually okay with putting it right behind ArchAge Chronicles, just because it's basically the exact same thing. Except at least Bella Torres is still marketing itself as an MMO. But yeah.
Yeah. Can't say much more than that.
All right, next up. Now, you're a DC Universe guy. What do you think about City of Heroes?
I did play City of Heroes first.
Okay.
I played it in high school on an old school Dell laptop when I finally got my own laptop. I thought it was cool. I didn't get far though. I was either too young or just didn't hook me in the right way, but I see why it is beloved in the MMO genre.
Well, so I think it's actually one of the first MMOs that for like kind of hit the normie audience. Because I feel like there was a lot of people who were like, I love superheroes, and then they found out about the game, and then through City of Heroes, they ended up becoming MMO fans in general.
Yeah.
Because like I remember so many of my friends back in the day at school would be like, oh yeah, but I've played City of Heroes. That used to be like something you would hear people talk about. I'm not sure. I loved the game when I played it, but it is super dated at this point. The only way to play it is through a private server. The private server is endorsed by the company, so they have like legal backing to actually run the game now. But that, I guess the main company does hold the rights to revoke that at any time. So it's like kind of permission. They have sort of permission. But I did enjoy my experience, and the customization in these superhero games is insane. And I think that all stems from City of Heroes because they did it first. So
yeah, I mean, City of Heroes predates WoW by about like 6-7 months.
Does it really?
So, yep, it came before.
I didn't know that. So it was 2004 or 2003?
2004. They came out the same year. Because World of Warcraft is 2004, I think late 2004.
November,
and City of Heroes is early 2004.
Gotcha.
But I mean, like World of Warcraft in terms of just like how it plays, like it personally it blows it out of the water in my opinion. But like City of Heroes has like some really cool movement, like you got super speed flight, all that kind of stuff.
Dude, the flying. I mean,
yeah.
The flying was so cool for the time. Like that was unheard of.
I don't think it could go any lower than A tier either, just because of how
completely agree.
Good it was for its time. It's still playable to this day. It still has a dedicated community. The character creation is like bar none. I don't think anything matches it in terms of the stuff you can make.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. I completely agree. I had a great time playing it. And the flying like still blew my mind. I played it last year. And I was like, wait, I can just jump up in the air and fly away? Like, this is amazing. Without needing a mount or anything, my own character can just fly away. Yeah, it was awesome. So next up, we have the worst logo on this entire thing. This is Mortal Online 2, in case you couldn't tell. I could not find a smaller logo. It looks like it's called Talon, but it's actually Mortal Online 2. There was the original Mortal Online, but I don't believe that version's playable anymore. So Mortal Online 2, it's basically this PvP-focused kind of open world game. It's pretty hardcore. In order to get into the game, you're going to need to go through... Like, you're going to need help. You're going to need help from an online source or another player. With that being said, the experiences you can have in this game, it's like the true essence of what a sandbox game is supposed to be. Like, you can just have the most insane storylines play out within Mortal Online 2. But I've only played about 20 hours. I want to do a full video one day. But what are your thoughts?
It's unfortunately a game I've never played. From what I've seen about it, there's like these survival MMOs that have popped up a lot, and then there's this little subsection of what I would also call survival MMOs, like Mortal Online, agree. Gloria Victis. What's the other one that was pretty bad? There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
but like, I think the problem that these little subgenres of MMOs have is like, it's very like brutal in terms of its difficulty for new players. So like, from what I understand, if this is anything like those other ones, as a new player, people could just kill you.
Yes.
And like completely grief you to the point of where like, okay, well, why am I even bothering to continue this?
I'm not sure how bad the griefing is in Mortal Online 2. I'm sure it exists. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That is exactly what the game is. Extremely brutal. I think I just have an affinity for it because so I met this guy I'm playing, and I meet this guy named Kim Jong-un, and he's basically role-playing as the leader of North Korea. And it's just the most hilarious interaction I've had, and he ends up taking me through the game and showing me around and showing me I should use this item, I should do this thing, I should do this quest right now. And it was just a really funny and awesome experience. And I ended up joining the Discord, and it seems like a lot of the player base kind of has these experiences. I know Nice Gaming, he's another MMO YouTuber. He's playing the game right now. And from what he said, he has a similar sort of experience with his video that's coming out soon. So I think it might be an exception just because the community seems so great. But with that being said, it's a brutal game. No forgiveness. You lose everything. PvP heavy. It's not holding your hand. So I'd be happy, though. I'm happy in B or C. Probably mid C.
For me, I would say C. And the other game I was thinking of was Life is Feudal. Where
Life is Feudal, yeah.
I can't ever get hooked into those games. I love difficulty. I love being able to grind my way out of it if I put enough dedication into the game. But like,
not
these
really
games
the case.
are just like made to beat you down.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, they're more social experiments in a lot of ways than they are MMOs, you know. So yeah, I agree. I'm okay with C. I'll probably go below D&D Online, but all right. Next up, we have our next superhero MMO, Champions Online. Is this the Marvel version of DC UO?
No, that was Marvel did have an MMO, but it didn't last long. It played more like Diablo. Champions Online is actually a tabletop experience brought up into an MMO.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. It was like does that work, pen and paper version. It's just like D&D, but it's the superhero version of it. Gotcha.
Yeah, because I think when I was looking to play those games, I looked at Champion Online and something about it turned me away. Something I was just like, I think I might enjoy DCUO or City of Heroes more. But I know nothing about Champions Online.
So I've played Champions quite a bit. I played it during launch too. It's made by Cryptic. It's the same guys who make City of Heroes. Right. It was supposed to be essentially the spiritual successor. It just didn't capture that same audience. So it eventually just kind of went into maintenance mode. Like, it's still fully playable today. The official servers are still live, but they haven't actually had a content update in like years.
Gotcha.
But it's basically the same exact game as City of Heroes.
Really?
Yep.
I might need to look into it. What year was it released, do you know?
Ooh, that's a good question. It predates DC Universe Online, but not by much.
Gotcha.
Maybe like 2010.
All right. Well, you're our resident superhero expert. Where's your placement for this?
It'd probably be higher than DC Universe Online, but it's going to be C tier because it is in maintenance mode.
Gotcha. And it's higher than DCO because DCO just suffers from too much pay to win?
Yeah, so like DC Universe Online is kind of like the direction that you don't want an MMO to go in.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Because it's a Western MMO that somehow picked up Eastern MMO monetization schemes.
Right. Fair enough. That's a good way to put it. All right, next up we have Star Trek Online. This is a game I've actually played. I didn't end up making a video on it just because I didn't love the game. I found it super overcomplicated as a new player. Trying to understand even just like how to open a door, like controls just felt weird. I have this thing where with certain IPs, the games will rely too heavily on the IP to push an audience than actually making a good game. And I think Star Trek Online is like a prime example of this, where they're just hoping that Star Trek fans kind of check it out. But I don't think they're actually that focused on making like a super great game. But I'd love to hear your opinion on it.
I played it for a little bit. I did plan to cover it, but I got bored of it. It had some weird systems to where like it was really hard to understand, and I felt like it was a lot more difficult than it should have been. From what I've heard, like it's gotten better because the game director left and went to DC Universe Online, which is why DC Universe Online has picked up a lot of its pay-to-win stuff, because it's the guy who came from Star Trek.
Right.
So apparently, like Star Trek and DC have flip-flopped, where Star Trek is a lot more player-friendly versus DC Universe Online now.
I'll be completely honest. I don't know what's happened with the game recently. My experience with Star Trek Online is almost D tier. I'm willing to go low C or D tier. I literally just didn't enjoy myself and I had to just stop playing. And there's very few games that I can't like power through. Even if, I'm not having the best time, I could finish the review. That game, I couldn't bring myself to turn the game on to play it the next day. So
I felt the same way. It was a game that, like I said, I planned to cover it because it's a big name. But I was like, man, I'm just so bored. Like,
well, some of the fans that are into it, like I remember looking at the subreddit around the time I was playing, And the people they've sunk thousands of hours into it. There's all these complex end game systems, but I never even got there. I never even got close. So
Yeah, it's always tough.
I think I'll go low C. I feel like D tier has to be reserved for like something truly awful.
Truly awful, yeah.
All right, next up we have Lost Ark. Kind of. The logo shows a little bit of that, but Lost Ark is might be my favorite combat to ever exist in an MMO. It is more of an ARPG kind of focused game. Top down, obviously, but its dungeons and its end game boss fights are some of the most complex and interesting and stylized experiences. The story was kind of whatever. I loved the horizontal progression system when the game first came out. They've kind of simplified a lot of that, so now it's got this kind of fast track to end game. And nowadays you can do a lot more solo than you used to be able to. But I love Lost Ark. It's one of my favorite MMOs that's really come out in the past few years.
I mean, it's kind of the ARPG, MMORPG hybrid that I think a lot of us thought we'd see more of.
Yeah.
In the genre, like I'm surprised that there's not more of these kinds of games out there.
Yeah.
When it first launched here in the West, I no-lifed it with my buddies. I think we stayed up like 36 hours on launch.
Bro,
it got to max
everyone
level
no-lifed
like
it.
It
had
days.
millions of players when it came out.
And then that's the thing, though. Like, we got to max level. We were like, cool, I'm going to go to sleep. And then we never logged in again. So,
yeah. See, that's the thing. But then I did log in again. And I think it's doing a lot better these days. You can do all the raids basically completely solo. It has this whole system where it teaches you a lot of the mechanics along the way. So you can do like easier versions of it. And it has a ton of catch-up mechanics. The main problem is that there's too many systems. Like, way too many.
Yeah.
It's got like 100 systems going on, and you have to pay attention to all of them. And so it's super hard to like figure out what you need to work on next. And so for that, it's not as alt heavy as it used to be, which is good. Back in the day, you had to play alts, which would feed your main character. That's not really the case anymore. You'd rather just use your main character and all the supplies kind of stay there. But yeah, I don't know. I'd go low A or high B for me personally.
I would say because I had so much fun during its launch, I could go with high B.
High B?
I couldn't go any further just because I didn't put more time into it.
Yeah, I can compromise with high B. Okay, next up, we have Lord of the Rings Online. Now, this was a game that I reviewed on my channel. It was one of the only reviews that ever came out, where at the end of it, I just quit because there was so much lag that I kept rubber banding so much that I had to quit. That's not because the game was inherently bad or anything, and this was before their new servers had come out.
Yep.
I actually enjoyed the experience the whole way. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. Love the movies, love the books. And I love how true the game stays to a lot of that. And being able to like explore those zones and meet up with a lot of the characters is like amazing. So I have to go back and play it again. But I literally had to quit because the lag was so bad. But yeah, they have the new servers now, so hopefully that's fixed. Now, it is Daybreak Games, though, so, you know, but...
It was Standing Stone Games.
Oh, sorry, Standing Stone.
Something like that.
They got the same... they have the same monetization style, so...
So, Lord of the Rings Online, I think, is probably one of the best alternatives to World of Warcraft besides, like, maybe Rift that's out there that nobody plays. It's very similar to World of Warcraft. It's in an awesome world. It's freaking Lord of the Rings, you know, like who doesn't know or appreciate the Lord of the Rings mythos?
Yeah.
You can earn cash shop currency. So like you could technically earn everything for free if you put enough time into it. It still gets updates to this day. Like it's a cool game. I just don't think a lot of people give it a chance.
I think in terms of why people don't give it a chance, I hear a lot of complaints about the user interface. A lot of people don't like the dated user interface, the map system.
Which I believe they're getting a 4K UI update sometime this year.
I thought I heard something about that. So it's like they are listening pretty good. Another pain point that I had while playing was inventory space. Though, as you mentioned, you can earn in-game currency and you can purchase more. Like you can earn the cash swap currency with in-game methods. I never really got to that point. I'm not sure how it works, if it's completely fair, or you'd probably know better than me. But yeah, it's one I look forward to going back to this year and really just immersing myself into. I'm probably going to give it a solid 100 further hours, and then hopefully I can make a better retrospective. But it just sucks. I was really looking forward to the Amazon games, Lord of the Rings MMO that was apparently coming out, and now I wanted the new version of it. You know what I mean? So.
Yep. I think we all feel that way.
Yeah.
I'd probably put it in like a B, because
Okay.
it sounds like that's probably where you were heading.
Yeah, I'm good with B. Probably middle B somewhere. Good about right there. All right, next up we have Monsters and Memories, another one of these classic sort of games. I guess it's aiming for early access in June, or is that a full release? I can't remember.
I think it's supposed to be early access.
Yeah. Okay. And it's basically the spiritual successor to EverQuest. They're really trying to be very similar to EverQuest, even in how a lot of the classes play. It's a very similar experience to EverQuest. I like how the game looks. It's got this like classic sort of nostalgia style to it while maintaining a bit of modernity, which is always cool to see. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to try it finally. But it is one of those games that's going to be super group heavy, super grindy. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I'm excited for it. I haven't played any of the play tests though, just because, like I said, I won't touch early access typically if it's going to get wiped. Yeah, I like what it's doing though. It seems like a modern EverQuest without all of the headaches and hoops that you have to jump through.
Right.
So I'm excited to finally play it.
Where to rank this? I'm thinking it's got to be B tier as well. Just from what I've seen.
I don't think it can go any higher than the current indies we've ranked. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm good with putting it pretty much where Pantheon is, to be honest, because I think those are kind of one and the same when I'm looking at both of those.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, I think this is a game you're going to be much more familiar with than me. Maple Story. Now they just released a classic version versus a retail version, right?
Not yet.
Oh, it's not out yet.
Supposed to be coming out soon, but it's got a ton of hype behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if you were that kid that couldn't afford a PC to play World of Warcraft or Guild Wars or anything like that, but could play RuneScape, Maple Story was probably the second game you hopped into once you were taking a break from RuneScape, because they came out around the same time.
So I mean, I was, but for some reason, like me and my friend group, if we stopped playing RuneScape, we'd play like other Flash games or like something like that, and we just never got into Maple Story. We tried it a few times. I'm sure we got there. It was also on Miniclip, wasn't it?
Maybe. I don't.
So
I remember a lot of those like old school like Flash sites where you would
Yeah.
see like that ad for that MMO and you go like, oh, this looks cool.
Yeah. I remember you could get to Maple Story or RuneScape through Miniclip, I think was the thing. And it was like you take the two paths. It's like that meme where you're going to the castle and one's like dark and evil and one's not. But but yeah, and I chose the RuneScape path and I never went down the Maple Story path. And I played like more recently, and I feel like that's a game you had to have played back then a little bit for it to click.
It is. It's very different now. It's gone the same way that a lot of MMOs nowadays have gone, where they want to rocket you to end game. No social experience. Everything is solo. They want you to just level. Everything is super inflated in terms of stats and equipment and gear and all that stuff. Nothing is taken a little bit more slow so that people can make friends. And that's why a lot of people are excited for Classic.
So let's rate this based on Classic. With that new news coming out, where do you think Maple Story fits?
I mean, with my bias, it'd easily go right next to RuneScape and S. Like, this is easily my second highest played MMO of all time.
Yeah.
If there's Maple Story fans in chat, they probably agree with me. Like the friends you could make in this game,
I'm willing to go S tier just because I've been in the MMO space long enough now that the respect I have for this game, like most people started in RuneScape or Maple Story. Like it's literally most MMO players went down that path. And if they're going back to the classic version, just like kind of old school RuneScape did, I'm totally willing to put it in S tier. I know I'm not going to get hate by ranking MapleStory high. You know what I mean? I haven't personally played it enough, so I'm going to defer to the expert in this scenario.
Yeah,
but I will be playing it when Classic comes out. I'm going to give it a try.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was that guy that reached 4th job when it was hard to reach 4th job, so.
Yeah, see, like, I don't even know what that means. But, you know, good job, I think.
You'll potentially see, so.
All right, we'll throw it into S tier. Let's do it. All right, next up, we have... Oh, this is the true, like, saddest MMO story to me. The logo's a little dark. You guys might not be able to see it, but this is New World. Probably... Go ahead.
I got a lot to say about this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did not understand the hate behind this game. I'm one of those guys that played it a ton. I didn't understand why everybody was crapping on it. I think people unfortunately watched the Josh Strife. So much respect for Josh Strife Hayes, but I think a lot of people saw his video, took it as negative, and ran with it all the way into the ground. This game should not be dead. It should still be thriving. It's one of the biggest shames in the most recent history I've seen.
I don't understand. I understand, like, okay, in the first week we had duplicate glitches, and there was tons of issues with the game in the first week, but they were pretty typical MMO issues.
But see, that's the thing, man. Like we were talking about this before stream too. If a game has even a slight stumble nowadays, people do not care. They will not give it a second chance.
And I understand because MMO players have been burned so many times before, but there's certain kinds of stumbles that are like forgivable, and then there's ones that kind of aren't. And New World, all of its stumbles in the beginning were, to me, forgivable. Although I will admit, I didn't play the game that much in its first few weeks. I ended up playing it quite a bit later. But I mean, I watched
to play the game.
I watched tons of content when it was released. And I don't understand why the game is going under. I think it's a total shame as well. I think it's a great MMO. I think there could have been more to the end game. Even to this day, I feel like they could have added a lot more, but it was getting there and it was working on it. And given a few more years, who knows where it could have been. So one of the best, like most fun combat systems that I've played. The graphics, the world, extremely immersive. The leveling and crafting system was awesome. But yeah,
I loved everything about it. I'm bummed because I was in the middle of getting back into it when it got announced that it was shutting down. I had spent another like 400 or 500 hours into it.
Dollars.
I was pretty deep, not dollars, hours.
Yeah,
because there's literally kind of nothing that you could spend that much money in on the game.
No.
Yeah, I was really
So
burned.
do we rate this where we think New World deserved to go, or do we rate it where we know it's gonna go because it's pretty much canceled now?
I don't mind putting it into D, just because it is going to be dead by the end of the year.
Yeah.
That
feels so dirty, though. I completely agree.
It's such a shame. It's such a shame.
I think it's an A tier game that, unfortunately, due to the fact that it's getting canceled, it has to go in D tier. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's my opinion. And it's high A tier. I don't think it would have quite made it to S tier, but high A tier for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, there's people in your chat that's like, it had stuff like duping and developer stumbles, and I'm like, I can't think of many other MMOs on this list that did not have that, and I'm sure y'all would glaze it just as much. So
the hate for New World got popularized. I agree with that. I'm not going to place all the blame on Josh Strife Hayes. I think even Asmongold and other people, like, it was like immediately everyone was just like, no, this game sucks. Like, it's like the whole narrative changed at once. I watched it happen in real time. I completely agree. And listen, I'm critical of games. Like, you should see my Chrono Odyssey video. But I don't know if New World deserved that much hate. But okay, on to Neverwinter, our next sort of Dungeons and Dragons adjacent MMO. Have you played Neverwinter?
Yeah, I've covered Neverwinter as well. It's another game that takes place in Dungeons and Dragons. It's in the Forgotten Realms, I believe, right?
Yeah. And they've been playing into that recently. They've got like Drizzt Duorden. He made it in there from an expansion. That's really cool to see. I've read the Icewind Dale trilogy and some of that stuff before. I'm a big fantasy guy. But once again, for me, this game is completely mid. It falls right in line with the other D&D game that's out there. And it's just, it didn't take the IP and do what we wanted them to do with it. The combat was okay. It had an action combat system, but the rest of the game is a complete slog, and it's super pay to win. So,
yeah. Now, did you hear that they're potentially doing a classic server for this?
no, I didn't.
Yeah, they reached out to a couple content creators, or not content creators, or I think just people in general. They were like,
Yeah.
what would you think of a classic server? And I think a lot of people got hyped because I think they're throwing it out there to see if there would be interest. And I think I would be interested to see a Neverwinter Classic, because I've heard it's a very different experience than what it is now.
Well, I think, first of all, now I don't know if it always only went to level 20. I can't remember. One second. I'm messing this up. But I remember when I played, it had already gone through like these major changes with the leveling and progression system. And people were telling me like, you should have seen it when it used to exist. You had way more customization and it wasn't as streamlined. And so, yeah, it sounds like a classic server might do well. That could be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it if it does happen. So
I think for me, I'm happy putting this literally beside D&D Online, though. They're one and the same to me, really.
Yeah, there was nothing that made me want to go back.
Now, this is where I have a bit of personal bias. I started my channel on this game. It's a RuneScape 3. I have 2 golden gnomes, which I won from Jagex from my first year covering this game. I think in recent years, RuneScape 3 has turned things around and become a much better game. In fact, if you go back and watch some of my streams from the time I quit playing this game, they've done a lot of the things that I suggested back then. There was a point in time when I would have straight up put this game into D tier, but I'm probably super biased. What do you think about RuneScape 3?
So, I mean, I lived through Evolution of Combat. I lived through when OSRS came back. I lived through all the Squeal of Fortune. It was easily the best MMO to never log back into.
Interesting.
I hated it, but I mean, these recent years, I gave it a fair shake, especially when I started doing content creation. And I was like, okay, there is something here because it is RuneScape after all.
Yeah.
It still has the bones of RuneScape. It got really, influenced by cash shop and monetization. And now, since a lot of that is getting peeled away, finally, it is basically RuneScape again.
Here's my thing with it, is that you can't just remove pay to win from a game, because there's tons of people who have paid to win.
Yep.
And so they're taking out the pay to win systems, which are still going to exist in some sense of the word. I guess there's going to be a limit on bonus XP that you can buy every day, but they're not going to have the treasure hunter system anymore. But in my opinion, in order for RuneScape to truly succeed, they need to do fresh start servers where you have to create a new character and there's no pay to win available ever. That's my final solution, at least, in order to see it become something like an A tier. But I do think with a lot of the recent changes, it has at least improved from a D tier to a C tier. I think I'm okay with putting it in C. What do you think about that?
I could put it in B. I mean, I have a hot take with RuneScape.
Okay.
I don't like the Iron Man mode, and I don't like the Iron Man mode for a couple different reasons.
In RuneScape 3 or in old school?
In RuneScape in general.
Okay.
So if you play an Iron Man in RuneScape 3, it is the old RuneScape experience. You can't buy anything from the cash shop. You can't trade players to get stuff. You couldn't use any of the stuff that would give you triple experience. Iron Man mode plays exactly like OSRS and RS3 now. And it has for years.
Anyway, they've added some things where Iron Man could do some of that stuff, but yeah, go ahead.
But I mean, I don't like what the Iron Man mode did to the community, because it basically divided us all into separate communities within the same game. So I miss when there was more socialization in RuneScape, and Iron Man kind of further separated us in both of these games.
I think I disagree with that take. First of all, I was an Iron Man. That was my whole series, so I'm very biased.
That's all I play now, because it's the only way you're viewed as a real player nowadays.
That's true. But I feel like there's always been different groups and games, and I understand they're taking away some social elements, I guess. But I mean, even nowadays in RuneScape 3, you have Iron Men that can boss with non-Iron Men. I think that's the same in old school RuneScape. And there's always been different groups. You've always had the PvP crowd versus the non-PvP crowd. You've always had people who focus on role playing. You know what I mean?
Sure. I guess the way it works is like back in the day, in early days of RuneScape, you didn't have people, at least within my friend group, you didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of people multi-boxing, and now the only way to stop people from multi-boxing is to make them an Iron Man.
Right. Yeah, that's a fair. I understand what you're getting at. It's kind of the same. If you take a look at like EverQuest, like basically everyone that plays that game now is multi-boxing in one way or another.
Unless they enforce single IP,
Yeah,
which is
Which even then there's
it's a
ways.
hot take, so
There's ways around it. But okay, I say C tier, you say B tier. I'm willing to go a bit of a higher C.
I could do high C.
Sure. I'm going to put it right about there. All right, next up we have Pax Dei. This was just like another survival sort of MMO. I thought the graphics were amazing because it was one of the first Unreal Engine 5 MMOs that we really got our hands on. But now it kind of just looks like every other MMO because they all are kind of starting to look the same, if you ask me. I did not enjoy Pax Dei actually all that much. It's very slow pace. So, you know, in some survival games, it's like, okay, get some sticks and then get this and do that. When I played the game, it was like just to even get to the point where I could have storage, it was like a really long, annoying, and tedious process. So I'm not a big fan of Pax Dei, although I will admit the game looks beautiful. Also when I played, the combat was like completely unfinished. So I don't know if they've changed that, but it's not looking good because the game's player numbers have not really recovered, is my understanding.
Yeah, apparently this is like made by one of the creators of Eve, so some of it is influenced by Eve. So like, there's
interesting.
a ton of different skills because Eve has a bajillion skills. I think all of it is just like implemented in the wrong way, though.
Yeah.
It's very much like you said. Like to do anything fun, you got to go mine rocks and cut wood for like 10 hours to get a storage chest so that you can finally maybe do something fun with some of your buddies. Combat is very bare bones. There's really not a whole lot to it, although like there is a little bit of depth there because like Albion Online, depending on what you equip is the spells you have.
Right.
So like it should be more than what it is, but like there's just some questionable design systems there. And unless they really fundamentally change how they're approaching a lot of their designs, I just don't see it anything higher than a C.
I'm good with like low C for this one. I don't think it's going to come back. Call it a hot take. I don't think we're going to see a resurgence of it. It was novel for what it was at the time, but then like even Dune Awakening just does what Pax Dei tried to do, but better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd love to be proven wrong. We'll see. But I'm good with anywhere in the low C.
I mean, like Pax Dei actually has some more traditional MMO stuff. So like there's dungeons, there is like rare drops that you would go for in a proper MMO as well. So it's more MMO than Dune Awakening.
Fair enough. Whenever I see these like survival-esque games, though, I tend to categorize them a lot of the same ways. When I played Pax Dei, though, there was not dungeons when I played, I don't think.
Well, there probably was. It's just like you have to do so much to get to it, dude. Like
could be, yeah. Could be. I played like the very first open access that they had, so maybe there was, but and I heard
maybe not then, but
I heard that they were going to make changes to it where they're going to add a day and night system that actually had like a meaningful impact on the world, and like I heard some stuff about potential dungeons or challenging combat, but yeah, I never got to experience it. Unfortunately, I would like to see the game do well. Maybe it does pick up. I just think that it's lost its novelty, and I don't see it coming back. But
yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Throne and Liberty. I really enjoyed this game when it first came out. Played it for 100 hours in like the first week it came out. I have not gone back to it since, and I felt no urge to go back to it. But I do have to give some praises for Throne and Liberty. Its group combat was insane. You'd have like 200 people fighting one boss, and you wouldn't have any lag. And it was like one of the coolest experiences. And I liked the leveling, but I didn't really love the end game, which just turned into a grind fest. And I don't love how the guilds sort of control the world to the point that if you're not in the top guilds, you are missing out on certain aspects of gameplay. So I don't know. Did you play much?
I have almost 1,000 hours in Throne and Liberty.
Oh, nice. Nice. You got more than me.
It was my main MMO for a solid couple months. I still miss it to this day.
Yeah.
I will never go back though. It's just like most Korean MMOs. It's freaking fantastic at first launch.
Yeah.
Then if you don't keep up with it, you fall behind. It has more and more pay to win in.
Yeah.
I can't go back to it.
I loved it.
Loved
That
it,
first
though.
little bit I played
Yeah,
it too. I
I
completely
loved
agree.
it.
I didn't sink 1,000 hours into it, thankfully. I might have got 200 by the time it was all said and done. I loved when you first hit the max level and you start going for your best in slot, and you'd go to like that dungeon and you'd go down there and find a group and just start grinding. And some of these items were like really rare drops. And so when you finally got them, it felt so good. That whole progression system I really enjoyed, but yeah, then I kind of fell off. And then you saw there was people like, I think they were paying real life money and just getting the best in slot items. I think there was a way to go about that. So
the
yeah,
cash shop, or not the cash shop, the auction house is tied to real life currency,
right,
essentially.
yeah. Where are you putting Throne and Liberty?
Low B, just
Low B.
because of its quality. Like it is a fun game, but is super pay to win.
Graphically, really nice game too. I enjoyed the world. But yeah, I'm okay with Low B as well. All right, this next one is kind of niche. I don't know if you've played it. It's called Realm of the Mad God. It's a 2D MMO. Yeah, permadeath MMO. It's kind of like a roguelite or a roguelike, whichever it is, mixed into an MMO. I've played it like 50 hours, I want to say. It's a bullet hell kind of dodge heavy game. It's not your typical MMO in any sense of the word, but it's like super addicting, and I kind of have a personal soft spot for it.
I've covered it early in my MMO content creation. It's super cool. I remember it came when I played it during launch.
Yeah.
It was just a novel little game. I didn't spend more than a weekend on it, but I had fun with it. As far as I'm aware nowadays, it's gotten a little more I don't know if pay to win is the right word. There's a lot.
I think it is
for cash shop.
Yeah, I think it is pay to win now. I don't know how, but I've gotten some comments. I have a video where I tried like tons of 2D MMOs, and I rated Realm of the Mad God pretty high, and I still get comments on that video, and a lot of people are saying it's pay to win now.
Yeah, I mean, there's still not a proper competitor to it. Back in the day, Digital Extremes, the makers of Warframe, was making a competitor to it, but it got canceled.
There's one competitor to it. I don't know if it's a real competitor, but there's like a more samurai ninja aesthetic. It's another 2D MMO.
Seen that one.
Yeah,
but it's not like fully in English or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember.
Really known. Yeah,
but yeah, I'm okay with high C, low B.
I'd say like high C, just because it's like a weekend MMO, but I would never see anyone really putting a ton of time into it.
I agree. All right, next up we have what earlier you called the World of Warcraft clone. I don't think most people would disagree with that. We have Rift. Yep. This is kind of similar to what you said earlier about, I can't remember what we were talking about. This is like the wrong way you want to see an MMO go. It did so many things right, but unfortunately just completely fell off the map due to a lot of decisions made by the developers.
Yeah, it's a game that kind of deserves so much more than what it's gotten. It's kind of in the same spot as New World, where it doesn't deserve it doesn't deserve to be in the hands it's currently in. Like GameGo has proven time and time again that they don't know what to do with these strong games. Rift should still be getting content updates. You have a die-hard player base that will do silly events like quote unquote fresh start, where they get like, I don't know, a couple hundred players and they all agree to start all over and lock themselves just to experience the game again. Like, there's a community here, give them something. And they're like, no.
It's unfortunate. And I was blown away when I first played it. I was like, why does this game feel amazing? Why am I enjoying the questing so much? Like, I really had much lower expectations when I started playing it. And then I had a great time. But it struggles with, well, its monetization and now a lack of player base.
Yeah, it's super sad,
but
it is what it is.
Personally, low B, high C.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be so many in that group.
It really is. Yeah,
I would say probably like in its heyday, it would have easily been a B. Where it is now, probably C.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think right about there works for me. All right, we're on to a bit of a controversial one for me. Chrono Odyssey. A week, not even, 3 days after this game came out, I made a video in which the thumbnail says, "Don't play this game." And I do stand by it. I think the game was in no way, shape, or form ready to be shown to people. And I was particularly annoyed because this was the game that I was actually most excited about out of any other MMO. So I was like personally offended with how bad the game was because I saw those trailers and I saw the aesthetic and I thought it was just going to be so much better. And then within the first few hours of gameplay, I'm fighting or like killing other players with barrels, and it just it like personally bothered me. Did I go a bit too harsh on it? Potentially. I can agree with that. And it does sound like the developers are kind of taking their time and listening to the community. So I have a bit higher hopes for it these days. But I can't put this game up very high on the list. The version that we got to play was dog water.
So, I mean, I don't know how many times MMO players are going to fall for these Korean MMOs that look amazing in their trailers and then play completely different. I mean, they straight up lied to Canon XO, dude. Like,
yeah. They put
it
him.
Doesn't surprise me. I didn't play it. It looked pretty bad. I mean, it's just New World, but made in the East.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people said it's similar to New World, and they did end up, if you like look at the assets they used, like some of the camps and the buildings were all like designed in exactly the same way. It was really weird. They weren't like one-to-one copied assets, but they were designed in the exact same shape. I personally, like, if it was just me here, I'd probably put Chrono Odyssey in D tier. I don't know. It has potential to go up the list, but from what I got to play, it was D tier.
If it's going to be anything like a lot of these other Korean MMOs, it's going to have a lot of aesthetically pleasing graphics. It's going to probably play pretty fun, but I mean, it's going to be so slogged with pay to win. I can see it being in D.
I would love for it to move up the list. But from what they promised in those original trailers and what we got were just so different from each other that I can't with any self-respect put this higher than a D, unfortunately. But they do have the opportunity to move up. And if they do end up pushing the game into 2027, like I've heard they might, then we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's kind of speed through these last ones. We have Aeon 2. This is a game that's not fully released yet. It's another Korean MMO. I think it's going to be exactly like Throne and Liberty. Even the aesthetic of these games are very similar. What do you think?
Aeon looks exactly like Throne.
Yeah.
I mean,
dude, they even have the flying whale.
Do they?
Yes, they both
I haven't seen that.
No, go watch Aeon 2's trailer. There's a giant flying whale.
Wow.
I was like, come on.
Okay. I mean, it's NC soft, so I guess that doesn't surprise me. But
I know, but I was
it's
like, be a bit more creative here.
It's probably going to fall right next to Throne, and where everybody's going to love it for a month, and then everybody's going to hate it after that month.
Yeah. Where did we put Throne and Liberty? Oh, up here on B tier. Yeah, I think I'm okay putting it beside it. All right, this next one's a weird one. Did you ever play, when you were younger, you were a guy that didn't have a PC to play MMOs, so did you ever play Sherwood Dungeon?
No, I think I played it a couple years ago and hated it.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a good game. But for like a ton of us from way back in the day, we have this nostalgia for it because it's like never really changed. And it was a browser-based game that you could really easily play, probably through like Miniclip or addictinggames.com. I don't remember how I found it. I have a video on my channel called "This is like the worst MMO to ever exist," and I put Sherwood Dungeon there. But I love the game. Like in its own weird way, I love it. But it's not good.
It's like a janky adventure quest, 3D adventure quest.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. And you can like actually beat the game. So like I beat the game in like, it takes maybe 20 hours. The final boss fight's not particularly easy, but it's probably a D tier. I would love to put it in S tier as a troll. But actually, I'm going to personally put it in S tier. It's one of the best MMOs I've ever played.
I'm gonna put it in D just simply because I don't have that experience.
There we go. We balance each other out. All right. Next up, we have Ship of Heroes. Did you see about this game?
I reviewed it.
Oh, you did?
I got to
Okay,
max
good.
level in it. Yep.
How long did that take?
It takes you about 10 hours. It doesn't take very long at all.
So not too long. Now, walk me through this, because I had finished playing City of Heroes maybe a few months before I heard about this Ship of Heroes game. It's just exactly copying City of Heroes, but then using like AI voiceover and a bunch of like
to a T.
Yeah.
I say in my video, like, okay, so like the thing with Ship of Heroes is they announced it before City of Heroes' death.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And they were like, okay, this is going to be the spiritual successor. So City of Heroes dies. Ship of Heroes is looking pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then City of Heroes gets resurrected. And I guess the devs just collectively took a shit because they didn't know what to do after that. So they just continued with what they were doing. So game releases, I play it, and I'm like, okay, so I think 2018 was when City of Heroes got resurrected. So they had like 7 years to pivot or add something to it of substance that was different. Because the whole idea behind Ship of Heroes was it was just supposed to be City of Heroes.
But if you got 6, it almost seems like they didn't do anything with it since then. Why did they decide to release this year?
I think it's because it was like a situation of like, okay, we got to release something.
Gotcha.
We've sunk so much time into this.
Do you think they were actively working on it the whole time?
I can't see that they were, because a lot of the footage from like 8 years ago,
it's the same stuff,
exactly
right?
the same in game. So
all right, so D tier.
Easily D tier, which kind of pains me to say, because I say in my video, like, it's not terrible. It's playable. If you like City of Heroes, odds are you'll like Ship of Heroes.
Even look at this logo. It looks like it was made on a like 2000s, you know.
Yeah, but that's my problem with it, is like it's low effort.
Yeah.
Like if these were fans of City of Heroes, I don't understand how you could fathomably get to where you released.
Also, how much did it cost?
It's like $20 or something like that.
I mean, still kind of a scam, but yeah, okay. It wasn't like $60 or anything. All right, next up we have Star Citizen. What are your thoughts on Star Citizen? I feel like this game is going to end up having an Ashes of Creation story one day.
It will implode larger than Ashes, though.
Yeah, much bigger, because it's had a longer time and more money has been put into it. So
I've never touched it. I have a friend who swears up and down that it's pretty fun. Will I ever look into it? Probably not. It's sci-fi. Sci-fi doesn't really speak to me too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree about the sci-fi thing, although I've been opening my mind more recently. But yeah, it's over $1 billion has been invested into this game at this point. It's been in active development for like more than 10 years. And to me, it's what Ashes of Creation wanted to do. I think that it's actually created an incentive for these developers to create something that is perpetually in development in order to benefit from hype. So I don't think it's going to be the last we see of it, but I'd be interested to find out if there ends up being any lawsuits or anything like that. What do you think? I haven't really played the game. I've seen footage from it. It looks fantastic. Like graphically, the game looks pretty cool. I don't know much about it though.
It could easily fit into B or C just because quality-wise, like the engine, the graphics, there's quality there.
Yeah, I don't know enough about its systems to be able to rank it like super competently. Maybe I'll check it out this year. Yeah. Maybe that can be another one I put on the list. But I'm okay with. I'm gonna put it B tier, low B tier, just like dead center of my screen, because I really just have no clue.
Yeah, I just don't understand why it hasn't been released yet. Like, what are they working on?
Well, they need another $1 billion, obviously.
Yeah,
it's $2 billion these days, entry level, to get in as an MMO. So, okay, next up we have Star Wars Galaxies. I'm currently playing this game. Currently loving it. I talked on my last stream, because I was only a few hours in at that point, how I wasn't loving it, but now everything's changed and I'm loving it. If you have played the game, that probably makes sense, but what are your thoughts?
I covered this last year. Star Wars Galaxies, for me, I think it's a little janky, but it's like janky for the right reasons, if that makes sense. Like, it's got some cool systems where like you could be a merchant and that's literally your class. Like you just don't even touch combat. You could be like a cantina owner or like a dancer or whatever. Like there's cool little role playing things like that, and a lot of old school MMOs do that.
Yeah,
and
it's been really
it
cool
died for
because
a reason, though. I
yeah,
mean,
oh,
like
absolutely, yeah.
the whole shift in how that gameplay system worked was just completely abandoned with the NGE. So I'm glad that it's like being preserved, though.
It's yeah. I mean, there's I think 4 different sort of popular private servers. I am playing on the legacy server, which does have the NGE combat system. But you can play on like the restore version, or there's another one which have the old school system, which had a lot more customization to it, from my understanding. But I mean, I am enjoying the role playing aspect of it. I've gone around, I've started asking people for help, and so this person led me over to a chair in one of the cities, and I had this lady basically give me a lap dance, and that gave my character a bunch of buffs. And so then I was able to go do the quest I was working on way better, which is just like a cool experience.
If you're a high level entertainer, you typically got tipped that way. So
yeah, right, yeah. So that was just interesting to see in a game. My dad, I remember he played Star Wars Galaxies when we were younger, and he had like a ton of praise for this game. So I wanted to do it justice. So I'm putting the full 100 hours in. I'm gonna see it to the end. But for me personally, right now, I'm putting it in high B tier. Because it has a lot of MMO elements that you just don't find existing anymore, and it's cool to kind of see that preserved in history. But I'm a little bit I'm still in the honeymoon phase right now. So yeah. What do you think?
If you like old school systems like that, where you can just kind of role play and stuff like that, you'll love Project Gorgon then.
Yeah, I know. I got to try it. Yeah. Are you okay? B tier somewhere? Yeah,
B tier for sure.
Cool. Next up, we have Star Wars: The Old Republic. I just covered this on my channel like 3 weeks ago. It's like an MMO, or sorry, it's like an RPG MMO. It's an RPG first, MMO second. The story, the replayability through the different storylines in this game is amazing. The actual gameplay itself can feel a little boring, but the stories are engaging enough to kind of get you through it. It's a typical like tab target, you know. It kind of feels like World of Warcraft, but with more story.
I played this game during launch. It is World of Warcraft in space.
Yep.
It is. That's like one of the best ways to describe SWTOR.
Yeah.
But I mean, like old school SWTOR when it first launched had some of the best raiding, man. Like Eternity Vault was freaking sick. Karaga's Palace, Scum and Villainy, like so much fun raiding. So much fun.
Yeah, I was trying to get into
now,
Eternity Vault for my video, but I couldn't get into a guild that was like doing raiding soon enough, so I ended up putting the video out. But I do want to try it because I never tried it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's still as difficult as it was back then, because man,
I don't think
like
so.
What was that? The last boss's name? It's like the Forbidden One or something like that. But it was such a fun fight. Such a fun fight.
I think the difficulty's been massively scaled back, especially for the older content. I know there's some newer raids, and when I say newer, it might be like they came out in the last like 4 or 5 years. Their content update cycle is just so slow, and it's mostly focused on like storyline progressions. So I enjoy the game though. For me, it's high B tier.
I could see it being B. I was almost going to say A because of there's a lot of quality behind it, but B nowadays for sure.
Yeah, I'd say B. I could say A in the right scenarios, but I don't know. It's just its actual gameplay becomes a little bland, and it becomes bland pretty quickly in 2026. But
yeah.
All right, next up we have Terrace Land. Now this game you can't play anymore. This game is hilarious. I actually enjoyed it when it released. I actually had a lot of fun with it. It was kind of like Fellowship before Fellowship, and it had more of a world, but the world didn't matter, and it didn't need to be there because the only thing that actually mattered was dungeons. So the world was kind of like, it was like a leveling process, but it took like 20 hours to get through it, and then you would just spam dungeons, which you had a group finder for. It was, I think, China's solution to World of Warcraft being canceled in China. So that's where the game came from. And it was very similar graphically to World of Warcraft and stuff, but yeah, it just completely shut down. Everyone stopped playing very quickly. Did you try it?
I did not. I looked at it and was like, not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought too. And then I ended up actually enjoying it. Like the combat was fun. The raids were really cool and you could get into them really quickly. But yeah, unfortunately it has to be an F tier. You can't, or sorry, D tier. You can't even play it anymore.
Yeah.
But it's too bad. I would have liked to see what it could have turned into, but I really think it was Fellowship before Fellowship. I think that's a good way to put it.
I'm just gonna have like one quick comment with Terrace Land. So like,
Yep.
there's a video that I was toying with for a game like Terrace Land where like no one's really fighting to preserve a game like that, but I'm sure it had its fans.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish there was a little more preservation in the MMO field for a lot of these smaller niche games, because that's just going to be lost media.
It is. Like, there's no way to access it. There's no way to get on the world or see that anymore. And there's a ton of like art that goes into this. You know what I mean? Like, it was
someone worked on this.
Yeah.
People worked on that game.
They should have some sort of way to preserve these games even after they die. And you'd think, like, we're like, what, 25 plus years into the online video gaming space. You'd think there'd be some sort of backup system or some kind of preservation system, but
that's a conversation that's kind of getting like missed, where like there is the stop fighting games movement, but like what about for games like Terrace Land, where a lot of the population doesn't care about it, but there is a small subsect that would love a Terrace Land private server, or something like that. So,
all right, next up we have Terra. I've heard many things about this game. I've never played it. I've heard it has some of the best combat that was ever around at the time. Did you play Terra very much?
No, I missed it, unfortunately. I think is it still playable on console, I think? Just not on PC.
It's playable on something. Yeah, I think it's only on console, which is such a strange...
It's confusing. It's like
the other way around.
It's like Bless Unleashed. Bless Unleashed, I think, is only playable on console. There's no PC or something like that. I don't know.
I think one of the versions of Bless, but I played it on PC. Unless they got rid of it recently, that could be the case. But Terra, I remember like Josh Strife said Terra was one of his favorite MMOs. He like loved it. Like just for the combat system. He was like, the rest of it is like pretty much slop, but the combat is so good. But I never got the chance to try it. I was hoping maybe you had, but if we both don't know, I'm happy putting it. Here, let's let chat vote on it. All right, guys, where do we put Terra? This guy says B tier. Now he says A minus. We're not putting it in A tier, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what it was known for, is like its fast-paced action combat, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean, if it's anything like, so I downloaded and played Blade and Soul Neo last night for like an hour. If it's anything as fast as Blade and Soul is, which I think is kind of what that game is also known for too, I can see why people liked it.
Blade and Soul Neo is like crazy cool combat. I've only played it for like a little while, but yeah, definitely. I think that was the inspiration. Yeah, it seems like people are mostly saying low B, and I'm okay with putting it there. I will defer to other people's expertise regarding that. All right, next up we have Tibia. Very old game. One of the most crazy experiences I had was when I was making my 2D MMO video, and I went to the Tibia page on Twitch, and I saw 40,000 live viewers. And there was like maybe 2 channels in English. This is one of the most popular MMOs to currently exist, and nobody talks about it. But it's mostly with Spanish and South American players.
It's like Dofus.
Yes,
it's a popular MMO, but no one here knows it exists.
Yeah. So it's tough for me to get into it. It's kind of like a MapleStory situation. I feel like if you didn't play it when you were younger, it's a little bit more difficult to get into. It's very old school, super grind heavy from my understanding. I'm okay putting it beside Dofus because I think that's just such a good representation because it's like it's very geographically dominated. Like I think Brazil is its highest country of like players.
Brazil has some really interesting MMO culture over there. It's crazy.
Really? What makes you say that?
So like I recently covered Grand Chase, and I mean I had a ton of Brazilian players telling me like that was their most popular MMO for like a decade.
Oh,
like,
wow.
It was beaten out even by like WoW. Like WoW
really
is not as big over there. And it's because they largely play in PC cafes.
Okay, yeah. So that game works like better for that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. All right, next up we have a game that you and me, I guess, were playing at the same time, though we didn't know it. Winds of Valen. This is an early access game, extremely bare bones, very small team. I just put my video out on this about, I think, like a month ago. I talked to the guy who's the head developer making all of it. Him and his wife are on the Discord. They're super nice people. They have a ton of great ideas for the game moving forward. However, it's basically RuneScape, but it's missing like tons of content. It's a very small map. You've got like 7 skills. They just added fishing and potion making, I believe, but it's a super small game. However, in terms of potential, I think the game could actually end up being something pretty cool. But what was your experience playing?
I mean, I kind of had like a small little running joke on my channel where I just covered like RuneScape likes, and most of them just either are like, man, in 5 years this could be great.
Yeah.
But it's not there yet. So
yeah. I've covered my fair share of RuneScape clones as well. Because of that dead MMO series, there's just so many on Steam that are similar. So
it seems like it's a genre that people are foaming at the mouth for. Like, when I covered Remote Realms, that got a lot more views than I ever thought it did. But people want this stuff.
People want RuneScape. Like, they want that skilling system, and that's why I liked Winds of Valen so much. And at least Winds of Valen had like a pretty cool world to go along with it, and like decent graphics and like decent. The boss fights had like some sort of mechanics, even though they were pretty bare bones. I feel like with too many RuneScape clones, they're very, very low effort. And this one felt a little bit higher effort than what I normally see. So,
yeah. I mean, my favorite one is no longer playable. I loved Genfanod, but
yeah, I've heard about that.
I keep getting burned by these RuneScape likes. They tend to get abandoned.
Yeah. There was another one, I think it's called Heartwood Online.
Maybe High Spell.
Oh, High Spell. Yeah, I've heard about that too.
Yep. High Spell's been abandoned already. So
great. Well, with Winds of Valen, I'm happy putting it in a B tier, just because it might potentially be something someday. It seemed my audience really resonated with it. Like, I made that video, and then the player base jumped up like 150 people for a few days. So
there's another one you might want to check out called Realm of Simplicity. Then
I've heard about that one too. I got a lot of comments on that video of different RuneScape clones. So.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's tons of them.
Yeah. So this next game, it just has the logo. It doesn't have the title. It's kind of controversial because some people say it's not an MMO. I mean, definitionally, I don't really think it is, but it's Warframe. It's more of a player hub kind of thing. Once again, there are some open world instances that you can kind of like go into, but yeah, definitely more of a co-op player hub sort of game. Have you played Warframe?
I played Warframe. I also recently covered Soulframe. Both games are awesome, but yeah, I mean, like, by today's standards, these are not MMOs. Back in the day, they would have 100% been classified and advertised as MMOs.
Yeah.
These are just like co-op games.
That line is getting so blurred, like with the amount of, like, every game's just like a live service game now, so it's so tough to say.
Yeah.
Some of the progression systems are kind of MMO-like, but then some aren't at all. So, I really enjoy Warframe. A lot of fun with it. It's not getting an A tier for me, but I think it could put it safely in B tier.
Solid B. B.
We'll go about there. All right, Blue Protocol, the game that got canceled and then came back. The anime MMO. I didn't play this. I got really excited about it when I first heard it was coming out, and then when I heard it got canceled, I kind of lost all hype and hope for it. And then they were like, "Oh, it's coming back," and at that point, the ship had already sailed.
There's some history behind this. So, like, the original version that got canceled was more MMO focused. The version we ended up getting, which was Star Resonance, is the mobile port that got converted into a proper MMO.
Really?
Yep, I covered this and got some of its history lesson.
Nice.
And that's essentially why, like, a lot of its systems are like, you have auto questing, you have auto movement. It's because, like, a lot of it was meant to be a mobile game.
Is there any MMO that's implemented auto movement and auto questing and everything that's like truly done well? Like, why do so many games replicate those systems?
I think it's just because it's popular over in the East. So,
yeah, but like, I guess maybe Ragnarok. I'm not sure. Like, I'm trying to think of what they're trying to copy.
I think it's because maybe like the Lineage mobile game has it, and Lineage is huge in Korea.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely something that they're copying there. But I mean, I think Blue Protocol is Japanese based. It's not Korean. So even that makes you
Yeah, it
scratch
is.
your head
It's
even
from.
more. Because the original publisher for the first Protocol was Namco Bandai,
Yeah.
which is like, oh, okay, that's a pretty big publisher.
Yeah.
But they've since dropped it.
Yeah, I don't know what to think. So many times now I see like anime related anything, and I'm immediately assuming the worst. Although
I mean, now
I've
it's
been
just a Genshin, like,
yeah, and I've been proven wrong a couple of times. I enjoyed my time in Genshin. Like people don't believe me. I literally enjoyed my time playing Genshin. So there are anime games that I can enjoy. It's so many times they fall into all of the same tropes that we see time and time again. Blue Protocol, C or D? What are you thinking?
I would say low C. I'm sad that we never got the original version. The
Right.
original version, I feel like it might have been a game that I could see myself playing long term, but where it's at now, it was cool for the little time I played it, but I would never go back.
Someone in my chat just said not only did they steal one-to-one boss fights from Final Fantasy XIV, but they even stole cutscenes too. Is that true?
Unless it was in the original version, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Interesting. All right, next up, we're on to WildStar. Did you play this when it actually was still available?
No, I think this was during my phase where I wasn't actually playing an MMO.
I think, personally, it was slightly like it's like people have rose-tinted goggles a little bit. I think if everyone loved it as much as they said they loved it, then it wouldn't have died. However, with that being said, it had a ton of potential. It was a great game. It had that kind of cartoony graphics that World of Warcraft had, and in a way that it could have lasted the test of time if it did stick around. It is still technically like playable or explorable through a private server version, but I don't think it's the exact same, like a one-to-one of what the game was.
It's in its early phases. It's very much like the Vanguard private server where you can log in and kind of run around, but you can't like do anything
right
yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, I played it a little bit when it was actually still active, and it was fun. It was cool. I didn't get very far into it, but I do think that people are a little bit overhyping it because it is not currently playable. I don't know if we can put it too high on this list. If there was a private server that was further along in development, we could see ourselves doing that. However, I feel like people always want you to rate this game with how it was when it was released, because everyone says, if you ask any MMO creator, oh, what's the game you wish was still around? People always say WildStar. For some reason, it's become the default answer for that. But yeah, what do you think?
Ironically, I think if it was released today, it would still be alive. I think in the time that it was released, because you got to think of, when I look at it, it's like, ironically, once again, it's World of Warcraft in space, but it's World of Warcraft in space with like charm and style and like a little bit of like cutesy, but like cool cutesy. I loved the way it looked.
Well, it gets compared a lot to World of Warcraft. I think it had some ex-World of Warcraft developers who worked on it.
Yeah,
which
it
is
did.
One of the, yeah, so that's one of the reasons why.
I think it's just NCSoft had no faith in it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was some other factors in there too that had it die. But I think if it was to release today, nowadays, I think for an MMO to succeed as a veteran of an MMO, I think a game that has like maybe 5,000 to 10,000 players is just fine.
Yeah.
I don't think an MMO just absolutely requires millions and millions and millions of players. We're just not in that kind of environment anymore.
No. There's too much competition, first of all, and second of all, MMOs don't have that mainstream popularity like they used to.
Yep.
I'm good with rating it high C, low B for what it was. However, if we are using the system where it's not really playable, then it might have to be a bit lower. You can't really play this game, at least the game that people remember, and that's what they're calling back to. So I think I'm going to go a bit lower on the C side, actually. What do you think about that?
I could see myself giving it a high C because it almost feels like it's an event that you wish you didn't miss.
Right. Yeah, I could agree with that. There's a bit of FOMO with it, especially with how it's praised these days.
Yeah, I'm hoping NCSoft maybe opens up their licensing for it because I'm sure there is a player investor out there that would love to buy the license and just have it be playable.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. I have a feeling we'll have a good playable version of it in the future, just with how much people talk about it these days. But
Absolutely.
okay, we're on to our final four. The next two
Yep.
are both World of Warcraft. We have WoW Classic and WoW Retail. And for me, I think we can just do these pretty much together.
Yeah.
I am playing World of Warcraft Classic right now because TBC servers just came out. It's my favorite, second favorite MMO of all time is World of Warcraft Classic. I have not played World of Warcraft Retail since Shadowlands, I think. However, the new expansions have been looking like they've been doing a lot better. I said in a recent video that it's kind of like the retail version of World of Warcraft is going to therapy, and we all just need to wait a bit, and then maybe like in a year they'll be okay. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. What's your experience with World of Warcraft?
I mean, World of Warcraft is a game that I wish I loved more. It's a game I've never been able to really properly get into.
Yep.
And I think it's mostly because I played RuneScape first. So
Yeah.
like when World of Warcraft was presented to me, I'm like, oh, I can't be anything I want to be. I have to be a specific class within this specific race. It doesn't let me do whatever I want, which is why I ironically probably like the private servers for World of Warcraft nowadays more so. But I mean, if I was to rate it, I don't think I could put it anything lower than an S. Especially
Now-
classic. Like, it's just too good.
I actually played World of Warcraft and RuneScape pretty much at the same time. My like entire time growing up, I would switch between the two. For me, World of Warcraft Classic is absolutely an S tier. It's
Yeah.
The replayability in this game is ridiculous. I play it again and again, and I do the same things over and over and over, and it doesn't get boring to me. And you can always be reassured that when there's a new expansion or whatever release they're on at the time, that there's going to be a ton of players to do all of the content with. So I really enjoy that aspect of it. Now, in terms of retail, I feel like you have to put retail pretty high up because of what it's done for the genre. It's been and stays the most popular MMO of all time. I think it's held that title since it was released. So how do you not put it in S tier? So I agree. However, the caveat has to be, in my opinion, that World of Warcraft Classic is a better MMO. Because really, the only reason that retail World of Warcraft is where it is today is because Classic World of Warcraft did it first. It laid the groundwork for it. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, they're both S tier with retail slightly behind just because of it's turned into ironically it's kind of turned into more of like how Guild Wars plays where like you're going from zone to zone completing each zone like a collectathon, but like it just feels more of a chore.
It's massively turned into a collection game, and there's a ton of content bloat in World of Warcraft 2 to the point that like they don't know what to do with all of it. So they try these time walking things. They try these different methods to make them relevant again, but every time it's like it never really hits. So all right, next up we have Wurm Online. How much of Wurm have you played?
Played like 30 minutes before got super confused. I mean, I like started to like level up stuff and I was like, okay, like I don't understand where I should be going, what I should be trying to do. Everything is like in first person. It's just very hard.
There's a video over on Sawman UK's channel, and it's called like the most complicated MMO ever, and it's Wurm Online. Like it's so needlessly complicated. A lot of people really love it once apparently you get into it and you understand all of these systems, but it is just needlessly complicated. I almost said needlessly constipated, and that would have been hilarious. But for me, Wurm Online, I think I've played about 3 hours in total. It's something I really want to explore, but I didn't have the best first experience, but I've heard from people it's pretty fun once you get into it.
Yeah, I mean, like I would have to be shown like what I really should be trying to do. I remember like some of the things you'll run into is like if you spend too much time trying to figure out its systems, you'll make your character hungry or thirsty from what I remember, because there's like a hunger and thirst thing.
Yeah. It's probably trying to do more than it needs to be.
Yeah. I remember like one of the like to chop a tree, there's like 10 different options on when you interact with a tree. There's like harvest, chop, cut. Like, I'm like, bro.
Yeah. It's trying to be a little bit too realistic in some ways like that. Yeah. I think I'm okay with C tier personally. I'd be willing to change my mind potentially, but we'll see. I'm okay with C tier.
Yeah.
All right.
See, I agree with that.
Last game on the list, bro. This went so much longer than I expected. I'm sorry about that.
I think it's just because we could talk about a lot of these games for
dude, and so many
hours,
of these, I'm kind of like, we're blowing past a lot of important information just to get to the end of this. But we have Trove, which is interestingly the same people that make, I don't know if make's the right word, the same people who own and work with Rift.
Really? Oh yeah. Is it still GameGo?
Yeah. So
yeah,
you can get rewards in Rift that translate to Trove, and then you can get rewards in Trove that translate to Rift. It's interesting. I've played a little bit of Trove. I actually like Trove. I think it's fun. If there's one thing Trove is, it's fun. Is it a great MMO? Debatable, but it's definitely fun.
Yeah. I would say Trove is a great kids first MMO. It's family friendly.
Yeah.
It appeals to Minecraft fans. I mean, like, there's a couple games we kind of missed out on here, like Adventure Quest 3D. Like, it's just a good casual time. Doesn't demand a ton of, commitment from you.
Wizard 101
it's just
would be another one.
Yeah, Wizard 101 is another one too.
Yeah.
It's a game that you can just jump into for an hour and log out, and you don't feel like you're missing out on anything if you don't log in back in for another week.
Yeah. Does it fit into B tier? Or is it still in C tier? I think it's got to go C.
That's a tough one because there's so many in C tier, but I mean, it's not like anything that I would ever rate as like amazing. It's just okay. It's okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I think a lot of people need to understand that there's nothing wrong with an okay game.
Yeah. Well, and you need to understand too that if everything is super, nothing is. Right? You need the massive amount of games that are kind of, just okay in the middle to allow the space for the best of the best to be the best and for the worst of the worst to be the worst. And I think our tier list here demonstrates that. I'm going to put the final one in here. I'm going to put Trove kind of higher on the C tier just because I think it is a fun game. But all right, we are finished. Let me back up a bit so everyone can see. What do we think about this? Are we just going to get completely destroyed? Honestly, the live chat, it seems like most people have been relatively in agreement. I saw some dissenters, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything offensive. I mean, I had a comment that was like, why is New World so low? And I'm like, no, you'll understand if you watch the VOD.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's like, I'm sure in my thumbnail, I have like something in the worst tier that's obviously not supposed to be there. That's called clickbaiting for YouTube engagement, people. But yeah, watch the VOD to get the actual, the take on it. But yeah, I had a ton of fun. Thanks for joining me for this tier list today, man.
Yeah, of course. I could talk about this stuff all day.
Yeah, and we didn't ask people to like the video enough while we were doing this, but if you guys are watching the streams, make sure to like it. If you guys don't know who Vagrant is, please go over and check out his channel. He obviously knows quite a bit more about a lot of these games today than I did, so it was awesome to have somebody here to bounce the opinion off of. But yeah, thanks for joining me, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. And I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream.
Yeah, I think we both need a break after this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, talk to you later, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, later.